What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as That Midday Show. That is your girl, Satya.
Hi, guys.
I'm Sharif, and we're going to wait everyone to come on over, Satya, from the other stream, as YouTube's got to do its thing, so we got to wait. My man, Fat Figga in the house. Spell it right, light. Okay. Yeah, starting off nice and fresh there. Matthew Booth joining us as well as the world's greatest mod, baby. Bears versus Bulls. Shout out to him as well. We got Beer Producer. Where were you yesterday when I was out, man? Beer Producer joining us as well. Bot Ricks as well as Barry. Yo to you as well. FFTB. And we got the man Gorev. Keep your eyes out on this guy's trades. Been killing it lately. Enjoying fun with Josie. Yes, I love the hearts. Awesome. Good start there. J-Lo. We got Yannick. We got Black Sheep Trades. We got Pax, as well as Odyssey Fights and Fiddleblick. Brendan H joining us as well as Blakeski. The OG, Vic, Yan, Novak, and Jay Haas. Proper Paradox and Ronaldo Glenn Smith. We got Lemel Melendez and Tara the Dawn. I like that name, Tara the Dawn.
That is cute.
He's like, that's a strong, affirmative, assertive name there. We got TH, Mr. Anderson. We got the Gauntlet. Good morning.
T-Man. Yes, shout out to everybody. Welcome, guys. So today, I wanted to talk a little bit about the dock worker strike. So today I had a really watchful eye on the retail sector. I didn't necessarily think to have a bias on how the strike may impact the stock, but I definitely thought that the strike would impact the sector. And so I was looking at tickers such as Walmart, Costco, Macy's, Target, Kohl's. I ended up choosing Walmart just because I feel like I'm more acquainted with Walmart, and so definitely looking at that sector. What do you think about that?
That's actually real. I love how you just pitched it like that. That was like, you look, there's obviously an issue with this. Which names because I play? It's so logical, so consistent. I love that. Walmart obviously has been a rocket ship as of late. I don't know if you ever, I held it for like 6 months and it did nothing.
Oh, wow.
So watching this thing makes all-time highs, makes me cringe a little bit, but hey, what it is, what it is, right?
It is what it is.
It is what it is. I'm looking at these small cap gappers today. Obviously, there's a couple of stronger Mag 7 names in play. I'm keeping my eye on Apple. It's been awfully reversionary, let's call it that way, because we made new lows there. We're touching 233 now. We're knocking the door possibly of that 227. So we'll keep an eye on Apple. Also, Tesla's worked its way back into the volume weighted average price near that 246. So much to talk about. There is certainly no lack of names today, baby. So we'll be getting to that in a hot second. But first, Satya, we're going to start off with the lesson du jour. Rob is here to help you out with your screen, though. For sure. So just mute your mic, and you can just and he can give you a hand there, and I'll start with the lesson. All right, guys, let's get to it. We're talking about level 2 today, specifically with volume. You know, just jokingly called volume is king, especially in gaps. Let's get right to it. So traders, sharpen your focus. Today we delve into volume analysis, the king of the order book. So let's talk about volume and what we mean by it. Obviously, we always introduce the topics de novo. So volume essentially represents the total number of shares traded at each price level. It's the voice of the market, essentially, reflecting the intensity behind those price moves. High volume should suggest to you strong conviction, either bullish or bearish, doesn't make a difference, while low volume indicates to you a lack of interest, kind of usually a hard and fast rule there. But how does it play with the gap? So gapping up here, news catalysts can cause stocks to gap up, you know, which are essentially, we're not going to get into it right now, but these are price jumps above the previous day's closing price. That's what a gap is, and that takes place at the open. Volume plays certainly a crucial role in interpreting the gap sustainability. So let's get right to it. High volume breakouts. This is the bread and butter. This is what you should be looking for. If the breakout from the gap is accompanied by high volume, it signifies to you strong buying pressure and a potentially sustained move. This is a good sign for long positions. Low volume breakouts, on the other hand, you should be cautious of these gaps, especially the ones with low volume. These breakouts are more susceptible to being filled, so to speak, where the price returns to the gapping breakout area, as there's less conviction typically behind those moves. Let's look at what we're talking about here on the chart. We're going on our merry way, lower high with a flat bottom. This is what we call a descending wedge. Ironically enough, though, we gap up above, not below the flat bottom. And look at the volume bars that are highlighted there. The reason they're highlighted is because you need to compare them to their predecessors, the volume bars that took place prior to when they printed, okay? And if they're above average, then you can say, okay, this volume is on above average, this breakout, gap up is on above average volume. I'll get it right. Whereas if it's not, if it's just the run-of-the-mill volume bar, you should be a little bit suspicious. And this is what we're talking about when we say a gap-filled area. Okay, so this is obviously, you know, they create a new high over here, and then the good times are over as we open much lower than where we closed. Okay, so a bit of a tough, this is what I'm just showing you right now with respect to what we're going to talk about in a second. So volume and confirmation. Volume analysis alone, though, isn't enough. It should be integrated, I would submit to you, with other signals for confirmation. First and foremost, order book confirmation. So we're obviously talking about level 2, so let's get right to it. You're looking here specifically for a high bid volume concentrated at the breakout level in the order book. So this reinforces to you the buying pressure suggested by the higher overall volume. But there should also be price action confirmation, not just order book confirmation. You have to observe how the price behaves after the breakout. Does it hold above the gap with continued buying volume, or does it quickly fall back into the gap area, which should indicate to you a failed breakout? So you need to not only be watching how it's breaking out in real time, but what it does subsequently on the book after the breakout itself. So both are important here. And as you can see over here, we have huge bid size at the $700 level, and we have almost a vacuum of sell orders on the other side. There's nothing kind of to equate with the size that we have sitting at 700. So what does this say to you? So that means that, you know, if I punch in at $750, I know, well, you know, you never really know when it gets back down there, but currently I know that there is 57,595 orders out or shares for 57,595 shares, okay? And that's on one gateway. When I look at the subsequent gateway, there's 63,500. Below that, there's almost 6,000. So the point of why I'm looking here is to say, all right, you know, if the price descends, will this big order here help backstop me from the price falling down? So that's what we're kind of looking at there. And there's a bit of a gap, obviously, it's a spready name. Let's talk, though, about beyond the breakouts and the volume whispers. And it's just a joke, obviously. We're not actually talking about volume whispers. Volume analysis isn't limited to breakouts. Here are some additional insights. You should be looking at increasing volume on the pullbacks. So if a stock pulls back after a breakout, but finds support with increasing volume at a pullback level, it suggests to you that buyers are stepping in, potentially indicating to you a buying opportunity. Okay? But there's also the issue of sudden volume spikes. Sudden volume spikes essentially are, you know, seemingly random price movements, but they can be warning signs of these hidden news that the market hasn't discounted yet, or potential market manipulation. You should be cautious when there are these sudden spikes in volume. OB often calls them liquidity grabs, but if they're unsustained, you should definitely be a little bit suspicious of them there, okay? And this is a breakout. What I'm showing you this for is that notice how the doji candle at the breakout level retests the support level and has high volume, because we got to keep one eye on the price and the other side on the volume. And the volume and the order types also important. There are these hidden orders. We talked about them yesterday, these iceberg orders. Remember these? High volume after a partial iceberg order fulfillment can signal a much larger order lurking beneath, potentially impacting the price action. You need to be acutely aware of that. And this is kind of, I thought this was funny, over here, kind of an apt description of what an iceberg order is, only showing part of the order. So in case you missed yesterday's lesson and the day before, an iceberg order and hidden order essentially only shows a part of the actual full order that they want to fill, kind of like how an iceberg floats on the water, only showing part of the top there. And this is kind of what we're talking about when we see an iceberg order. So I just wanted to pause this for a second. If I can, where is the button? There it is. All right, so what we're going to see is we're going to see huge buying Watch this now. It's not going to be able to break through that 717. We're going to get to that 720. Look how many times it's printing 720, but not printing above it. And you can see that on the time and sales. I'll play that again. So as we get up into 720, let's pause it for a sec. Look at this. There's 6 lots, 5 lots, 5 lots, and 1 lot on these 4 gateways. All right, but there is really, that's not enough size to prevent us from ascending. And keep your eye on the volume. We're printing big volume, yet, you know, we're not really moving up above that 720. That's typically what we call an iceberg order, okay? So just a bit of an advanced, or a bit of a nice tip there. And a bit of an advanced tip for you guys, volume at support and resistance can be awfully important as well. You should be monitoring at previously identified support and resistance zone, monitoring volume that is. High volume at the resistance can confirm a potential reversal, while high volume at buying at support can indicate a potential bounce. So I hope everybody has a fantastic trading day and prints up multiple storms. Satya, what do you got?
Awesome. So yeah, going back to the tickers that I was looking at Walmart, Kohl's, Costco, Macy's, Target. And so I didn't necessarily have a bias, as I was saying. I more so was just looking for volatility, just to see how, you know, that strike may have impacted these tickers. So in the morning, I was looking at Walmart. And so mainly, I was looking at the break of this 81 level, just because with my trades, I usually like the break of the pre-market high or the break of the pre-market low. And so I was looking at that 81. And so at 9:30, came down and I got in around here, around 80.60. And I was just like, okay, this is pretty good confirmation. We're below VWAP, we're below the pre-market low. And I got in, and then it started to chop around here, and I'm like, it might reverse, and it's still pretty early because I got in around like 9:34. And so I'm like, obviously, I don't want to hold this if it's going to reverse. So I took my profits around 80.40, and that is what I did with this trade, let it go. And then as we see, it kind of retraced up back to VWAP, and then it's kind of chopping around. But I really like just to use VWAP as my, my bias as to whether I'm going to go long or short. And the fact that we're at this VWAP and it's rejected at this 80.64 again, I really like that short still. And I'm also looking here at this 80.38, possibly breaking through this this day's low, hopefully for the continuation for the short. But I want to see definitely what it does at that 80.35 level. Another thing that I was looking at is Macy's. I didn't necessarily trade this. I only traded Walmart in the morning, but this looks interesting as well. I like the fact that it bounces off of these VWAP levels, so around this 1540 level, around this 1550 level. Definitely very interesting on this as well. And then looking at Target, it's breaking through this VWAP level, so I'd really like to see what it does around this 151.25 pivotal level. Very interesting to me. Looking here at Costco, I feel like this one, I mean, it is a more expensive ticker, so I probably wouldn't have traded it, but it's really interesting. I feel like it does a more definitive bounce off of VWAP, and so we have like those longer candles there. So at this 871.50 level, we got a bounce there, and then we also have a bounce at 872.50. Definitely very interesting. We did find resistance here at this top around 879.49, and it's also the pre-market high level as well. But I'd be wary about that, but definitely made some key moves around those. And then we also have Kohl's. I don't really like the look of this, but it did break through this VWAP at 2077, and that would have been a nice play for me as well. But that's what I was looking at. How about you, Sheree?
All right, I'm in TOP. I also was trying to trade right now GSIW for a VWAP retracement. Didn't hold, I'm out. So I got caught up on trying to dollar cost average into these small cap gappers yesterday with the bias that small cap gapper season was in effect. And I think I executed a little poorly, so I'm hoping to do better today. All right, we're gonna do better right now, baby, because there it is. All right, now we're moving up on top. So we got a nice little entry, bottom wick right now on top. We're still holding a piece. I want that 250 continuation break on TOP. It's at the top. I had to say that. I mean, right? So there it is. Now I'm keeping my eye on GSIW because it's still putting in higher lows. That's the thing. So you get low, local low, and another local low right here. But I don't want to get cut up on this. It's going to give me a possible opportunity to come into the highs. I don't need to be first, but I need confirmation. So I think I traded this one, GSIW, by the way, incorrectly. I should have been basing my out based on this area trough at $1.82. I didn't, because I front ran it at 196. The reason I front ran it there is because I was trying to get VWAP, but it obviously didn't respect VWAP. So yeah, I guess it was kind of a double-edged sword there, thinking, you know, VWAP's going to hold, so placing your stop just below the 10-penny area. But in reality, it really is this area crest that I need to concern myself with. So we're going to keep Packer patience there, see if we can set up on it again. But this one's printing well. We're about 12 pennies in the money, but I'm looking for a $0.50 break on this $2 name here. Let's do some wider time frame analysis or higher time frame analysis on TOP. Let's figure out what the areas of support and resistance could be for this bad boy. All right, so here it is. We were up higher than we were today, last time around August 22nd. Look how ugly this candle is. This is ridiculous. There's almost no body to this candle. It's almost entirely composed of wicks. That should give you an idea of what kind of stock this is, especially on bullish days. 268, so essentially 2 2/3, was the high of the day. It did give up the ghost quite quickly on the breach of the 50 exponential on the 5, and it ended up trending down again. So we'll see if that ends up being the case today. Right now, we're already having trouble with that 250 area, but I'm happy that I was able to take some off there. Let's do a bit more charting. If we break above this 2 2/3, what are we looking at here? Well, we're looking at a long area of consolidation, in fact, at this area of 2 2/3 to 2 3/4. So that is a big boy resistance area on this small cap gapper. Let me give you the details of said small cap gapper. It's an $88.5 million market share, having traded 3 1/3 million shares on the day with a 7 million share float. And let's bring down trade ideas and shout out the Nos Boss and his crew. And the float is about, the short float's about 5%, so not a bad look. Certainly not negligible, something off which we can base some trades here today. So TOP, it's top in my books right now.
Yes.
You know I have to do that, right? Of course I have to do that. What are you looking at? Sorry,
sure.
Ram, I apologize.
No worries. So I'm looking at Walmart. So I got in here at this 80.33 level. I'm looking to take profits at 80.10. I have my stop loss here above. Does it show here? Oh, I guess I don't have that in yet, but I have my stop loss at 80.67. So I think that if it goes above that VWAP, then definitely my trade is wrong. But I'm pretty sure that, you know, it's looking good. It's near that, you know, day's low. And so I definitely think that we could get a break through there. Another thing that I was looking at Tesla kind of broke my heart today, because I was looking from, pre-market, I was looking at that 260 break. And it did reach 260, but it slammed down from there. So definitely, so I'm just going to pull it up here. Tesla. So I'm going to go on a higher time frame here. And yeah, so it did reach that $260 mark right here, but it just slammed down from there. So I'm definitely glad that I didn't get in during pre-market, because I would have got rinsed with that. And so definitely I'm looking for a pivotal level around 250, but I still feel like that isn't really enough confirmation for me to go for the long. But I'm definitely going to watch that $250 level and see where we go from there. What else are people looking at in the chat? We see NVIDIA 119. Let's look at that.
Futures at highs, NVIDIA's at highs, Amazon at highs. We're pumping.
We're pumping. Oh, wow. I actually took a break off NVIDIA. I actually love to trade NVIDIA, but I took a break off of it, and I feel like that was very regretful for me, because damn, we are breaking those high. I really like the fact that it broke through this pre-market high. It did this consolidation here around 117.89, this 117.66. Broke through this day's high at 118.75, and that would have been a really nice level to get in as well. And we're just going through. I definitely think we could reach 120 today, because I feel like that is also a pivotal level as well. So damn, I missed out on NVIDIA, but if you guys got in, shout out to you guys. You guys are printing. You guys are making that money. An ideal place that I would have really liked to get in is around this VWAP. You know, guys, I love my VWAP, right? Mm-hmm. And yes, and so typically this would have been a nice setup for me as well, because typically at 10 a.m. I find that this is when a new trade setup starts. And so right around 10 a.m. So where is it? Around here. So, okay, 10 a.m. was kind of far out, but reaching through around that 10 a.m. mark, I feel like that would have been a really nice long from there. But shout out to NVIDIA. Shout out to everyone printing on that. You guys are making your money.
All right, we have the segment with Adara at the green screen. Get it, Adara.
We're just going to be looking here at some of the names on the S&P 500 making larger moves. We did have McCormick there, MKC. They had earnings. They actually ended up beating on earnings, but their guidance, they guided a potential decrease in 1% for their sales. So that was a bit of a weak spot there for MKC. Also on watch here, we have CVS. CVS has been on watch for the last few days with regards to this ongoing activist investor story with Glenview Capital. Last night, right after the close, Glenview Capital actually responded to some press reports saying that they were looking to break up CVS. Glenview saying that's not the case. CVS up about 3% right now on that news. Now, last but not least, we have CZR. This is Caesars Entertainment. This one up about 6%, actually near high of day. They had a pretty good looking bull flag here. Their board approved a $500 share repurchase program, and also kind of separate, but worth noting here, we do have a federal appeals court ruling that it is actually legal to bet on congressional elections. So good note, maybe interesting note there for some of these gambling related sites worth noting. Also, if there's any tickers that you guys are looking at either on this list or not, make sure to vote for them in the chat. !join, space, $, and your ticker of choice.
Thank you, Adara, because I definitely forgot to do that enough yesterday because she was always taking care of that, and I suck. So there it is, guys. Make sure you are voting. If you're not going to hear what Neil thinks about whatever he was trading today. You're not going to hear what Obi thinks about what you guys want to hear about. So make sure to get your say every day. The big kahunas take over at 2 o'clock, and they do that afternoon rundown today. And I know I want to hear what they got to say.
Of course, yes.
That's the way that
Send those tickers in, guys.
Absolutely. And it's a bit of a nuanced entry, right? I know it's there's a lot of special characters. Yeah, only 2. That's the exclamation point. Make sure to put the space in between the word join and the $sign. Streamlabs gets very upset if it's not entered properly, and it will not register your vote. So shout out to everyone. Hope everybody's doing real well. All right. So I'm involved in a couple of positions. We're going to look to basically dollar cost average at 230 to defend this area crest over here on TOP. If it does make its way into 230, I will add, having taken out already some over here, but I am looking for this one to continue above that $2.50 level. Now, if I do get filled at 230, my out will be the break of 220. It is going to have to hold that 10 penny area. Otherwise, I want zero smoke. The Fuge just weaseled its way up into 20,100, getting a bit of a sell now, but well above the 10 exponential and still very much closer to highs than it is to lows. And I just printed there on Meta, baby. 50 pennies there. Took the short off the 50 exponential moving average. Looking to weasel my way down into 573 Satea.
Today is a great Thursday. Sharif's in the money. Hey. I'm in the money. 9 cents in the money. Let's go. Let's get it. So I'm still waiting for that 80-10. So hopefully, it hits that take profit. So I'm still waiting on that. What else do we have? Join Tesla. We got Apple. Let's take a look at Apple. Apple's not really my friend, to be honest, but you guys, you want to see Apple, so let's look at some Apple. Yes. So we're looking at Apple. Oh my goodness. This was also a really nice one as well. I like the fact that it's right near that pre-market high. So we are here at 226.11, 226.12. So I really like that. But the key point to really have got in was at this VWAP. I wish I was looking at it at 10 a.m. That would have been a really nice long from there. Oh my gosh. Shout out to Apple. Where do I see it going though? Apple. It's breaking through this consolidation here at 226.25. But I'm not too sure, to be honest. I would look at the ATR to really gauge, how far this could really go, because we are pretty extended. Apple could slam down and go back to VWAP. So look at that ATR, guys, and see what it does from there. MSTR should rip once Bitcoin stops sleeping. Let's look at MSTR.
Mister.
Ooh, this is, look, damn, these markets are flying today. What the heck? So look, we are looking, I love this pre-market high. That would have been a nice long for me as well. And it was just clean. Look at that, 163.92. And it just had this nice candle in the 3-minute, and then it just went up, and then it's just trailing this double EMA right now. And I love the look on that. MSTR is flying. This pivotal level, even it has crossed 165.40 from, near, not days high from yesterday, but a resistance level from yesterday, 165.17. That was a really nice look as well. Oh my goodness. I would say a take profit level I would look at is the days high from yesterday. So around 169.35, that is a level that I would be looking at. And I see Sharif, he's punching keys. What are you doing over there, Sharif?
I'm having a good time. I got smoked yesterday, so I'm having a good time today. All right, here we go, baby. All right, so we took out the rest on the $0.50 break there on top. Happy with this one. Looking to reload. Sad I didn't get my ad at 230. It, for whatever, found support at 234. So that's a look there. Now I got filled on Meta. Happy with this trade. 75 pennies there as we took it off the 50 exponential on the 5. Shout out to Gorev, who had the exact same trade. Now, here's what I was looking at the 5, guys. I don't know why, but Meta is featuring with the 50 exponential on the 5-minute chart today. There's your first double top rejection. That came in at 1045 and 1050. We got there again after defending VWAP at that 572. We worked our way right back into that red line. As you see, that is the 50 exponential on the dang 5. And there we rejected again, giving you $2 more there as it breaks down now below 573. So yeah, I should have been wetting my beak at the said volume weighted average price, but that's the trade. The trade is over now on Meta, and I'm going to be looking to do something a little bit different. Now, here's the look on Meta. Isn't this look a little bit bear flag? Bear flag, because we've got a bit of an upward channel after a bit of a move down. So how does this resolve? Who remembers these continuation pattern, bear flags, bull flags? You take the top, you take it, well, in the case of a bear flag, you're measuring from the breakdown point to the top of the pole. And then you're going to take this measurement from here to here, and then you're going to project that down, in this case, from the breakout level, or breakdown level in this case. We're going to have to wait to see where we break down from, but it behooves us to be cognizant of this upward channel. Now, it doesn't only have to resolve in a bear flag continuation. This could be a recovery. I mean, there's no hard and fast rule that the pattern you think you see has to manifest. We just try to put the odds on our side. So that's a look there. No, I'm happy with this trade on Meta. Gorev, did you wet your beak, or what are you doing over there, brother? Let me know how you're trading META, because now it's breaking down 572.54. Good look there. But we do know that it did find its footing at VWAP last time. So is there a trade for me here to the other side? Should I be going long at VWAP at 572 60s or 50s or wherever the hell VWAP is on a $500, $600 name? You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to keep my eye on this one. If it does catch a bid here, I know that we're making higher highs all throughout this, what I think is a bear flag pattern. So if that's the case, I can ride it likely maybe into that 575.50. So we'll see. META has been a dang rocket ship as of late, printing new highs, I think, yesterday into the 580s. I don't know if we ended up closing that way, but I know definitely they were intraday highs. It's been a rocket ship, and we're going to watch to see what it does today. By the way, before I throw it back to Satea, your boy Tesla over here is doing a nice little curl back. It just took VWAP, and it's also knocking on the door possibly of that 50 exponential on the 5 ram. And right above that 50 exponential on the 5 is another 50 important level, that 250 level. Now, we did dance with that level a little bit today. As you saw, we did that umbrella pattern that Dara sometimes talks about, where we curled back up and then kind of rejected, double topped at 250.79, which is technically the HOD on the day. Obviously, we're much higher in the pre. Obviously, if you're just joining us today, Tesla selling off. It was like a very small miss with respect to deliveries, cars produced, cars delivered. I think it was a great look, macro-wise. I don't know if you had a chance to dissect any of the numbers, but no. I didn't think it was a big miss. We're talking like a few hundred cars on like almost 500,000. So we're talking peanuts.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
What's your look? What do you got?
For sure. So someone shouted out CLSK in the chat. So I'm looking at that right now. So we have this range here between this 843 level as well as this high at this 878 level. So definitely, a clear range on the day. I like the fact that we are above this day's high at 865, so that is looking pretty good. But I would say I wouldn't want to risk too much on this trade. If I were to get in around here, ideally I'd want to get in around 862, around that VWAP. If you are trying to get in now around this 869, I would say risking a little bit below VWAP, 858, maybe 850, 849. I like to avoid liquidity, so 849 to 848 would be where my stop loss would be. And that's what I would look at. But we do have this top here at 875, so I definitely watch out for that and look for some more volume there. And then we also have WHLR. Someone shouted that in the chat, and that is a monster. Like, look at in the previous days, it doesn't even move that much. It just chops around a little bit. Like yesterday, it moves 668 to around 756. So not much movement there. So, but the fact that we've moved, oh my goodness, like from this pre-market high, you guys are printing. Do you know the news on this, WHLR?
I've been looking at it. This thing's a dang rocket.
Yeah.
So let's pull it up right now because it was definitely on my watch list today.
For sure.
No. You know what?
No news?
No, not from today. And I'm looking from yesterday. Nothing's coming in. This might be a technical break. What the hell is this company do? Real estate investments, fully integrated, self-managed commercial real estate investment company. Company owns leases and operates income-producing retail properties with a primary focus on grocery-anchored centers. Highly specific for no news. Is there anything in sympathy possibly that could be running to this? Remember we were looking at that, what was that real estate SaaS company that we were looking at the other day? What the hell was that? Was that Duo, guys? Was it Duo? That was, yeah, it was Duo. Duo was a SaaS real estate company, but it was a Chinese one. I don't know what White Wheeler's running for, but it's the #1 gap scanner.
I just want to ask you, why was WHLR on your watch list?
Remember you asked me how I find my small cap gappers, and I showed you my scanner, so it's literally #1.
Okay, gotcha. That's how you found
yes,
that.
Ma'am.
Okay, I need to find that scanner because that would have helped me a lot today. But yes, that is blasting off. I don't know where it could really end. Like, I don't really do the small cap gappers, to be honest. That's more of like a Sharif question, but definitely look out for that. That is crazy monster today. Nike is coming back down.
We got to send it to Adara.
Okay, Adara. It's going to Adara.
Yeah.
Some details on Wheeler. This is a repeat runner. This one, what we've kind of seen, I think the last time it ran was a couple of weeks ago. It'll run for a few days there, then slow down and then come back. Right now, your high days, you're up about 160%. Last time I checked this around 10:30 a.m., we had a market cap around $5 million. Right now, it's $9.41 million. So good look here for WHLR. Biggest thing to note, though, pretty significant short float, 25.4% short float on a total float of 620,000 shares from what I'm seeing. So WHLR, those details really worth noting. Again, it is one that's been traded in the past, so expect some retail interest too.
Fantastic stuff, Adara. Thank you for that information. Absolutely positive that this one was a small cap gapper. I do remember this one, so good look. We're definitely going to have to put up WHLR here. We're going to take off Boeing, Ram, because I've had enough of Boeing lately. So we're going to go over here, put WHLR. Guys, this thing is rocketing up. You be careful with this one, okay? Especially when there's no specific catalyst for today. As Adara mentioned, short float, decent, float, small. So, all the right things for it to become parabolic. But it doesn't only go parabolic one way, okay? It can tank. So be careful with this one. I would personally take it off key levels. What I'm seeing right now on this one is initially it had a little bit of a resistance here in the bull flag. Let's pull this up at 16. It did breach 16 obviously multiple times, but you can see all these topping tail candles here were rejecting off 16, and then we started closing near $16. So 16, an important level. Then we're looking below that, near that 14. Whoa, see what I mean? It just dropped from 18 to 16 and a quarter like that. So you got to be ready for that. If you're not ready to stomach these type of moves, do not trade it. It may halt here at 15.58. Let's pull it up over here and look what it's doing. It likely will halt at false halt, pops up back into 16, and now we printed it a little bit lower. So be careful with this one. I'm so happy I told everyone to be careful before it tanked, but there it is. So I'm looking at 16, and it is doing the dance right now with said 16. A little bit below, a little bit above. We don't need to be first. Let's see how this resolves, but 16 was an interesting level. I was about to say that 14.50 to 14 and a third also seemed interesting because that is the volume weighted average price. So if we do weasel our way into VWAP, I'd like to have a possible look at this as well. Look how it's defending 16. Bottoming tail candle into 15.5, gets bought up quick as you dang like, right back up into 16, showing you that the buyers were serious about, well, intraday at least, about booming this one above said $16. Let's give this one the old dang college try, man. I'm just going to go, we're going to give this 50 pennies or so to the top. We're going to get some out possibly at the $quarter over here, but I'm going to give this to about 15.49 or so. We'll give this one, you know, a little bit of a try as it tanks here, 15. Well, there we go. Now we're going to, oops, 15, there we go. And then we got to put that in play there. So we'll see if we can get a print on this one. We're out of the money already, but we're going to look to defend 16 bucks to see what we do there because there was a lot of zig and zag. But if it breaks at $0.50, I'm Gonzino. What are you looking at?
For sure. So right now, Nike, we're looking at Nike. We had Nike earnings after the bell yesterday. And honestly, it's hit this top here around 84.64. And we could see here on the 5-minute, these candles, like, it was green and then bright red, and then we broke through this consolidation here. I could definitely see that it may retrace down to VWAP around this 83 level. I definitely think it could retrace there. I would see what it does from there, whether we bounce off of VWAP and then continue forward or break through that VWAP. But definitely think that it could retrace there just for a little bit of a pullback. You know, a healthy little pullback. But I feel like because they didn't shout out like the guidance, and so I definitely think that the market is a little bit confused about where Nike may go, and so Nike not looking good as of right now. So another thing that we are looking at is NVIDIA. I really like this look on NVIDIA. I know we touched base on it, but we're going to go back to it. I really like that it's at this 118.78, the day's high. And so definitely I like that it came down a little bit. It's consolidating a little bit, and then I feel like we could definitely blast higher. So look out for that 120, definitely looking really nice right now. Shorting Nike to 81, yeah, I definitely think that is possible as well. Stopped out of NVIDIA, definitely. What else do we got here? What else are you guys looking at? Tesla. Let's go back to Tesla here. So Tesla is approaching that 250. I like the fact that it's approaching that day's high nearly. So the day's high is at 250.73. We're getting up there as well. I definitely think that if we can break this day's high, I would definitely be interested in the long. That looks like a really good look. Probably risking this consolidation here around 248.14. So around giving it around $2, and I definitely think that's a pretty good risk level to give it as well, because I want to see it really blast off from that 250 level. If it does come down to 248 and break that level, definitely not looking good there, at least with my strategy. It might be a little bit different with yours, but with my strategy, I don't really like that, and so I'd give it about $2 there. How about you, Sharif?
It's fantastic look, Satya. Well, what we did right now was we weaseled our way out of Wheeler over here for a nice 30-penny winner. Got in at 16 and change, got it out at 16.40s and change, but it's still going. This one, I don't know. I don't want to say its best days are behind it. Absolutely not. It's still very respectful right now of the 10 moving average on the 5, 10 exponential moving average on the 5. That is depicted as the solid green line on these black charts over here. As you can see, every single wick, print or close, print or otherwise, has respected the 10 exponential since a pre-market, man. Well, no, this was interesting actually, because this one didn't really get going at 9:30. Like, I mean, it was moving, but the volume really started coming in at 10 after 10. You can see that. I mean, the first almost 1 million volume candle was that 10-10 volume candle at 10-10, or on the 5-minute chart is what I'm trying to say. So this is interesting here. I wonder if there's another trade to be had off the 10 exponential. And getting in at the 10 exponential, mind you, gives you a lot better of a level than 16, even though I think 16 is certainly the previous top, that level of resistance that we were working. And quite frankly, I know we got into 18, 17.99, but we really haven't decidedly left that $16 level behind. Because look, we're at it again. 16.30, 16.05, sure, we weaseled up into 18, but I don't think we've really claimed that $16 level all that conclusively just yet. So we'll keep watching this one. I see you guys in the chat yelling about top. It took out the top, baby, because it got into a new high a day, 295. Now it's knocking the door of set $3. But again, I want to give you this little tidbit here. Do of it, make of it what you will. But I use the 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart with the small cap. No, I really want to show this with these small cap gappers, Ram. And what I do is I use it as an informal gauge of overbought and oversold conditions. What do I mean? When the price action gets awfully extended away, the distance away from the 10 exponential moving average on the 5, just like it is right now, I look for it to mean revert, at least maybe back closer to the 10 exponential. So when we get this big distance opening up between that 10 and the current price action, I do get worried with these small cap gappers, and I look for something to mean revert back. We'll talk more about that when we get back from Adair at the big desk.
One of our new segments here today, it's going to be the earnings segment every day at 11:40. Of course, one of the bigger earnings today that we had to discuss here would be Nike. But I want to take a look at some of these other earnings names we haven't necessarily talked about as much. One of them is going to be Lamb Weston, LW, much like Nike. They reported yesterday after the close. Bit of a rounded top forming here. They did beat here, so that explains the initial move up. We did have adjusted earnings of 73 cents per share, beating 71 cents expected, and higher than expected sales there for LW. On the flip side of this, we had Conagra, which is down about 10% here, down 9.5% on the day. They reported this morning some issues here with their manufacturing disruptions. They did miss both sales and earnings per share estimates. Now, in terms of what's coming next for earnings, we do have Levi's reporting after the bell tonight. Analysts are looking for 31 cents per share, and then also revenue of $1.55 billion. So keep an eye on LEVY after the bell. Also worth noting in terms of news updates, Costco on watch here, just seeing this report that apparently they're looking to add platinum to their offering of metals. We know that they have had a quite lucrative gold business. So COST on watch here.
Yeah, I was just telling Satya, I'm really excited to see what Constellation Energy does, because we were just talking. I was telling her, like, that's Constellation Energy. What's the other one, Dara?
Constellation Energy. That's Constellation Brands.
Thank you, Adara. Thank you. Yeah, Constellation Brands, Constellation Energy, different one. I'm mixing up the two. I thought that was the one that was reporting, because I want to know more about that nuclear, potentially using nuclear power to power AI and stuff like that. Anything you're looking at there?
For sure. So someone said Google in the chat, and I'm really interested in Google. It's approaching this day's low, and so I definitely like to see what it does at this 164.88 level. It did have this wick here at 1024, and it bounced a little bit, retraced back to VWAP. But the fact that it retraced back to VWAP and then it's coming down again, I would definitely like to see what it does at this level. Definitely like to see if we can move down to the downside, as Sharif would say, down, right? But I want to see what it does at that level. I definitely don't want to anticipate what it does, but I definitely think that that is a key level to watch out for, especially because we rejected off of VWAP. Not precisely, but we have, this rejection around here, around 1045, and then again here around 1124. So definitely something that I would look out for. So that is what I'm looking at. What else are you guys looking at? Palantir. Palantir I haven't looked at in a while. So let's take a look at that. So with this Palantir trade, I'm looking at this level, this 36.89 level, but what I drew, this pink level here, is I just saw that there was a bounce here, at this 36.95, and I'm looking at that as my pivotal level as well. But then we also have this kind of double top here around 37.21. I would like to see this range, what it does from here. Does it break above this 37.21, or do we break below this 36.93 around this consolidation level? I definitely like to see what it does from there. Going on a higher time frame, let's see if this gives us, an indication as to what we are doing from here. So if we look on the month, we bounced off of this $36 level. So definitely, I know the month just started yesterday, but I definitely think that that $36 level is definitely a pivotal level that we should look at as well. But looking at that 37.12 is definitely a pivotal level that I would like to see break higher in order for me to look whether or not we can go higher for the long. Satea Katina Adera, CLOV is up 14% for no reason. CLOV. Haven't even heard of that ticker. Let's just see. Oh, wow. This is your small cap gappers, Sharif. This is a $3 mover. What do you think about this?
Oof. Why didn't I see this one earlier? I'm sorry about that. That's interesting. 14%, maybe that's why I see it actually there. My mistake, I should have had that one on the small cap gapper list. That's an oversight by me. Let's add it in. Let's move Boeing over here, which is definitely not a small cap gapper. All right, this is beautiful. Okay, let's talk about this one. It's not really a small cap gapper, obviously. Clover Health is $1.574 billion with the latest pump over here, trading at 316. 5.4 million shares traded on the day with a float large. 370 million shares or thereabouts, so a bit of a bigger float. Let's find out what the short float is. These 6.55%, certainly not the biggest I've ever seen, but definitely something off which we can work. So this is a good looking chart. This is a respectable stock. From what it's done lately. Obviously, let's not compare it to the pandemic highs, right? Everything and their mother was inflated at the time, so it's not really a perfect comparison to draw, nor did it spend too much time at $29. But when we zoom in a little bit and look how this one was trading as recently as April, we were trading at 60 pennies. We weaseled up into $4, and this is a beautiful looking pattern over here, okay? Because even though it did, I don't know what this was, what this top was over here, even though we sold off, we respect the higher low situation on both sell-offs, both this one over here with a higher low and this one over here with another higher low. Now what we're looking at, can we continue that higher high low that we were doing before? How does that come back? Well, we got to print above 3, let's say 3 1/5, 3 1/3. Just to make that new higher high and then continue on our merry way, bless you Ram, into a possible $4 level there. But we'll talk more about Clove and some of the other small cap gappers when we get back from Adara at the big desk.
I have some more details here on Clove from a news standpoint too. Apparently yesterday, I'm just seeing that it was cleared by the SEC. SEC had a probe into it. It has been cleared in that probe. So that could be some good news for CLOV, could be continued reaction. Also seeing on social media, apparently it's been leaked. This is unconfirmed, but there are some leaks here that apparently Clover has received a 4-star rating for its PPO, which is part of this plan here, the Preferred Provider Organization Plan. Apparently has received here a 4-star rating from Medicare. Again, this is unconfirmed. This is just a news blast or rumor as of right now, but CLOV with a couple potential catalysts, namely that SEC approval, or I guess that probe being cleared up there, guys.
Rocket, thank you for that, Adara. Appreciate you there. Adara dropping hotlines at the big desk. Thank you for letting us know why things are moving. Absolutely important. As Adara was reporting on that, I was watching Top. Guys, look at this. We were waxing poetic about this. 295 HOD weasels down into 267. Where was the 10? 265, oh no. And then it rockets right back up, a candle of indecision over here. But I like the fact that the bottom wick much bigger than the top wick. And there it is. Here's $3. We're knocking the door of 3. Is 3 going to get breached? Yes. The answer is yes. 307 HOD. TOP on the dang way up to 74% now. This is beautiful look, continuation today on that earlier move that we, kind of started right at the open there. So we're going to keep an eye certainly on top. WHLR in play, TOP in play, CLOV in play. I was looking at GSIW, but it's below the volume weighted average price now, so it's of much less interest to me. The only one that I kind of semi-like right now, other than the ones that I already mentioned, RCAT, RCAT, kind of doing a bit of a head and shoulders pattern right now on the 5-minute. Lower volume on RCAT, but it did breach VWAP, but was quickly bought up. If this reclaims VWAP and then works its way above 325, I'm talking about RCAT, I'm going to be interested. Otherwise, I'm going to have to look to the big kahunas, maybe get some shorts on this bad boy, because this is a nice looking head and shoulder-ish pattern that's developing right now, Satea, on the 5-minute.
For sure. So someone said SPY in the chat, and this one is like a little sneaky one. Like it has this trend line, and it is making, lower highs, and it's definitely going up as well. But it's just doing this chopping action, and I feel like it would be better, rather than to just get in right at the market price, you definitely want to get in passively with this one. I definitely think that, it's going to save you some money in that case. So we do have these trend lines here. We have, the top around 570, and then we have the bottom here around 568. I definitely think around VWAP would be nice. 568 would be a nice, passive way to get in. I definitely think 569, those even dollars. I definitely look at those even dollars for this trend, but definitely trending up. I don't think it's necessarily going to be just a straight shot up. I definitely think it's going to chop, it's going to churn. And if you have, the patience to wait for that, I definitely think that this is looking like a good trade. A target, profit target level that I'm looking at here is around 570, and that's what I would be looking at as well. SPY sideways. Yeah, it's definitely moving sideways. Definitely it has, it's trickling up, but if you are using a lot of size, I definitely not recommend that just because of this choppy action. But get in passively, guys. I definitely think that's a good look. MSTR looking good. Going back to MSTR. You guys really love that MSTR. Oh my goodness.
That's why they.
Of course. Why wouldn't you? Yeah. So it broke through this yesterday's high around 169.33, blasted off from there. So it looks really good as of right now. Definitely looking great. A profit target level that I'd be looking at is this pre-market high. So yesterday's pre-market high around 172.53. And I would look at that and see what it does around that level. But just be careful, guys, because we are pretty extended. But oh my gosh, MSTR, I wish I was in that earlier too. MSTR printing. So we're going to look at coin because someone shout out coin in the chat. Let's look at that coin. Ooh, get that coin. Yes, bang. So we're looking. So I like to be pretty uniform with what I'm looking at. We're looking at the pre-market high right now. So I'm looking at 166.31. So I'm just going to draw my little line here just because I'm a visual person, Let's just make this a little bit smaller. And so I have my line here at 166. Let's just zoom in, get this accurate. 166.34. And I like the fact that it's breaking this pre-market high. And so we really want to see where can we go from here. Target level that I would look at, because I like to look at my target profit levels as kind of like a bus stop. I'd like to see where it may stop. So I don't like to have like a definitive target level, where may we stop before we go up? And so I definitely think that that level that we should be looking at is 168.46, definitely a pivotal level. And then another level, I don't think this is pretty extended, and I don't think it's going to go here today. But in the longer term, I definitely think another pivotal level that we should watch is this pre-market high from yesterday. And so that is around this 181 level. And so that's what I'd be looking at. But as of right now, the level that I am looking at is around this high here, around 172.87. Definitely looking at that. How about
all right, Dara, what do we got?
We have Nicola making new high of days. This thing up about 25% right now. Just a nice little uptrend. Pulled it up because I saw it's popping on volume, which it still is, as it continues to make new day's highs. Much like many of these manufacturers and car names today, they did release their Q3 sales for the year 2024. Apparently, this is a record quarter for Nicola, based on what they reported here. 88 Class 8 hydrogen fuel cell trucks wholesale. They've sold apparently a total of 200 so far this year. So NKLA with a record quarter pushing higher here. This one, of course, does get a lot of retail attention, and it is known to run, definitely can run sustained volume throughout the day for this one, guys.
Thank you for that, Adara. I made the mistake today thinking that it was Nikola who was pushing down their trucks down the hill, but it was actually Workhorse. Do you remember this story?
No.
Where, like, I think this company had a deal, Workhorse, I think, they had a deal with the U.S. Mail.
Okay.
And I think they were going to make them mail trucks, but they don't only just make that. They have other things that they're producing as well. One of them was like a hydrolyzer or hydrogen-based, like a long-haul truck, like an 18-wheeler kind of, right? And they pushed it down the hill, Satea. It didn't self-propel.
Oh.
Yeah, it was one of like it was good. It was funny. I mean, it was made for funny reporting, but in reality, I mean, like, that's bamboozlement central. Like, you're deceiving everybody there. I don't know who remembers that story, but Workhorse pushing everybody or their thing down the hill. No, that was Nikola with the semi too. It was It was Nikola. So yeah, I was talking to Brendo, and Brendo was like, "No, man, that was Workhorse." Yeah, well, who knows, man? It's been a minute since that happened, so it's kind of hard to remember the names. But yeah, that's interesting. So I guess it was Nikola. So yeah, take that with some caution there. What I'm looking at right now is I'm in Apple. So Apple's been awfully strong. It's up 0.25%. Was much lower. Touched 223. Now we touched 227. Been respectful of the 10, but I see now that we are kind of breaking down here on the future. The first time on the day we're breaking, well, not the first time on the day, the first time in a hot minute that we're breaking down below the 10 exponential on the 5 on the future. So I want to see if this is a momentary pullback. I'm looking to add at the 60 penny level, but if it doesn't hold that level, I'm gone. I'm not going to be dollar cost averaging it much, if at all, into anything today. So my levels are going to have to come in, otherwise I want no smoke. So the future, finding a bit of a sell now after knocking the door of 20,100, taking a bit of a down move right now into about 20,000, maybe 20,050 thereabouts. I have a buy order on AAPL sitting here at 60s. We'll see if it gets triggered and what happens subsequent to that. But as I look at some of these other Mag 7 names, it's not just Apple that's pulling back. You've got the likes of Google right now printing the low of day. And I happen to be quite bearish on Google going forward. I just don't think that their AI is up to snuff with some of their other competitors. I heard today that they're going to be looking to release a similar version of what's that new ChatGPT called 1.0 or something like that. They're going to have one similar to that where it has that rationale where it shows you how it reached the decision. It thinks its way through. It basically asks itself the question, hey, how do I answer this? How do I answer that? And then it shows you the reasoning behind how it reached that decision. Google apparently going to drop something similar to that. All right, we got the ad there on Apple at 60 pennies RAM as it comes in to defend that level. Now we're break even as it weasels back into 75, but nothing changes about where I want to get out for my beak wetter. I'm still looking for something around 227 come what may, baby. What are you looking at?
For sure. So I'm looking at DJT. DJT, it's approaching my playbook. So one of my playbooks, you guys are probably tired of hearing it, but I'm going to say it again. Those pre-market highs, and I really like that. I really like this 1622, but it also is at day's high. So we want to be careful because I see this wick here, 1631. So we just want to be cautious of that. I'd want to see more how it plays out on a longer time frame. Definitely, I would say within maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour, if we check in around 12:30, maybe 1. I definitely like to see what it does from here. I don't really necessarily want to jump in and get in as of right now because we are at the highs and it could just reject from here, But definitely like to see what it does from here. DJT looking pretty good. But the fact that it had this consolidation here, so we had this wick at 1507, then it came up to VWAP, and then it was kind of consolidating between 1009 and around 1130. And so I like that consolidation before this break above VWAP. But we just want to make sure that we're not too overextended because you want to make sure that you're not just jumping in because you see something moving. Because, you might get into a situation where that is like the extent of the move, right? And so just make sure that you're getting in at good levels, wait for more confirmation and see what it does from here. So going back to Google, I'm a little bit worried. Someone asked if we could see 163 today. We are bouncing at this level around 164.75. I definitely would like to see more confirmation here, maybe on the 15-minute. So if we go down on the 15-minute, I'd like to see I'd wait for the 1215 candlestick to form, and then I would like to see it, go down below this 164.73 mark. But we could bounce from here because we are at these lows, and this could just be a liquidity grab, guys. So don't get caught up in that. Just be aware, and that is what I'm looking at right now. DJT, Oracle, let's look at Oracle. I haven't looked at Oracle since its earnings, a couple of time ago, but let's just see here with Oracle. This is not really my ideal setup with Oracle. I just don't like the fact that it's just chopping through VWAP, not really making a clear direction here. We have, we have this range here around, going to Adara.
No, you're good. I got to tell you somehow.
For sure.
We're going to take a look here at what's happening now, 2.0, I guess, here at 12 p.m. Now that we're midway through that midday session. How are things going? Both the SPY and the Qs looking pretty identical here. The S&P 500, we went from looking like a pretty hard bearish engulfing candle to a bit of a bottoming tail candle here just below that 570 level for the S&P 500. In terms of news, we still have a lot of continuation plays to watch out for with regards to Chinese ADRs. There still continues to be a lot of interesting things to watch out for in the world of oil, both with what's going on in the Middle East and also with regards to higher than expected inventories here from the EIA across the board. We got those at 10:30 a.m. Also on watch, basically, a lot of these, almost all of these car companies, certainly on watch. Tesla, we had Nikola as well, moving on their Q3 2024 delivery numbers. Now, in terms of other things to keep an eye out for, Palantir, actually great look here. This one went from initially down in the day to getting a great pop off of open, now near day's highs. We got a lot of this strength coming in at 10 a.m. when Barron's reports, much like what they did with NVIDIA, that Chairman Peter Thiel has stopped selling stock for now. So good look here for PLTR getting a similar boost to NVDA, what we got last week. Also, we have Wheeler here, WHLR, one of the small caps that started moving in the middle of the day. With this one, you've got a 25% short float and less than a million share float to be aware of. These are any tickers you'd like to vote for to get covered on the afternoon show. All you have to do is go in that chat, !join, space, $sign, and your ticker of choice. But right now, we're going to move on to Neil and his lesson of the day.
Thank you, Adara. And the lesson of the day is all about deliveries from Tesla. So look, what else are we going to talk about today? It's always going to be something that's in the wild that we're able to find and think we can all maybe learn from and get better with here. So the general theme is going to be, if you're waiting for something, and this is going to be very particular, because Tesla reports their deliveries essentially at 9 o'clock before the open, it's not as if you can do a ton of preparation. It's kind of like earnings in the pre-market. If it happens after market, you might set out some levels. Everyone gets a chance to read the report overnight. You come in a little bit more prepared. You can have your plan of action, say with regards to maybe Nike this morning. But with Tesla, you were just sort of waiting around and hanging around, and then all you-know-what broke loose, and you're trying to formulate a plan as everything is going on. So first things first, there's nothing wrong with having some ideas going into it. Obviously, anybody can see you had a potential break through like a 259.5, a 260. That was a resistance from yesterday. And then we had the $250 level, which was a pretty key one in there. I had 57 marked off, afternoon support, key level, just underneath the Coles price. But once the number comes out, all you can do is try to observe price action. Now, normally, I use a 3-minute chart. I put up a 1-minute chart to try to make this point because of all the price action that was so insane that we had to the downside. And you can kind of see what I was talking about a little bit better on the 1-minute chart. And it's the first observation that I made. You have a clear downward move as the numbers are being disseminated, right? Like you'll see the first wick is going to lose 258. Then you're going to have a bottom right here at 53. There's going to be a retest of the high that immediately gets sold back down. And then you make a bottom at 52. You get another retest of the high. It tries to hold up here at 54. And then it sort of breaks down. Now, you have to be watching the book for this. And you can kind of tell, but you had to be watching the book. As it was, the first observation I made is, as it was trying to break the high and get back above the 258, it was very instructive what was happening mechanically at that level. Is you would get above 58, And the second it would start to break down underneath, specifically to 257, the bid would fall $3 right into 54. And you can sort of see in here, you have some wicks underneath there, but this is what I was talking about live. It's like 54, 54. You break here, and you're instantly at 54. So no matter what this is telling me up here, I'm like, no, this is weak until there's bids above the 254 level. Like, to me, you're looking at the trend down until you see 254. When we lost 254, your bounce zone right here, 250. You can see the wick bottom. Now you're not even retracing the 254. You're clearly in a downward trend. This is all before the open. Then you resist the 250 level. So our first support after we lose the 54 is 250. It's immediately resistance. So at this point, you've now made another bottom at 245. You're like 10 minutes before the open. Well, I have a range. Now you've got a range at the bottom here at the open to work with. Because 54 is far away, 57 is ridiculously far gone. But after those set up, it showed you 50. Once, twice, there's your low. So you could have looked at a million things at the open. There was a missed opportunity in Coinbase for an SSR trade. But Tesla showed you now the range. If 250 breaks, I want to fade 254. If it comes up and fails 250, the only thing I'm looking for is get up to 250, do not break it, look short to the low. That came in as clean as you could possibly imagine at 9:30. It popped. If you were only on this stock, you saw 249.90. There was liquidity to be able to grab. I got 249 like halves, and then you're right into support. That's just underneath 248, then right into the bottom. That happens in a flash. A couple of minutes, and you've already got yourself a pretty clean $4 move inside of the range that was established. Now, we always talk about the whipsaw action at the open. That first couple of minutes is very different from settling down, getting 5-10 minutes into it. Yeah, you're going to get the clean whipsaw action the first time. The second time it tests 250, it really tests. And you would have heard me say, hey, let's look for an actual normal entry. This is the best way I can think about saying this. Off that 250, which would be a failure to break that level. Look for confirmation on a lower high. You're still working with the 250, to me, in the 245, 246 levels. Those are the only ones to watch. So as it came back the second time, there we go, I can zoom in a little bit so you can see. As it came in the second time, you're still working 250. It ends up breaking down. Look for the confirmation that there are sellers back underneath 250. There's your confirmation underneath your key price. There's your entry. There was actually a trend reversion, which should have been an ad for me, and I was telling Obi this. So I got in when it pulled out underneath that 250. However, there was a trend reversal. This should have been an ad and double the position because it was like 2 trades in one. If you treat yourself like an algo, it means you can take the one trade, then take twice as many shares because that's another trade, which is the mean reversion trade on that little bit of a trend line that got formed. So that's another place I could have got in. But the key thing is you're still working off that one level that got set up at the 250. It ends up breaking the low of the day. I didn't get the retrace on the trend, which was right in here to jump into it a third time. It was a bit of a miss. But that all comes from just observing your price action in real time. We spent a lot of time looking at the tape on Tesla in the morning. Weren't looking at anything else in the pre-market. Lots of stuff was setting up, but you're just staring it down so that you can identify it's obviously 250. You know you're trading off that level. And you know what? If this trade doesn't set up the second time and this bounce ends up breaking out, then I'm just sitting there waiting, get to 254 and look for the same thing at 254. And if that sets up a mean reversion, I'm going short there. And if it doesn't, then waiting, let it get to that 257. And if it sets up there, I'm taking short. Like it showed you the levels in the pre-market when the liquidity vacuum opens up because you had to do the work watching the tape and watching the levels after they released the numbers. You couldn't do it prior. You don't know what it's going to be. I don't know if they're going to beat on the numbers. If I knew that, then you could make some kind of a gamble before, or maybe I would just play the lottery. So you had to play the price action that was out in front of you. It might not have been the level you wanted to play last night, like maybe 265, and that big resistance on the daily was going to be it. All you got, to me, was very clean levels if you were watching that tape, 54, 57, and 50. 50 was the one you got to play twice short off the open. It never gave you the other two. But as long as you're looking for them, and if that's the stock you're trading, then you should be locked and loaded and ready to go. It's just more work is all it is. When you're looking at something that's an earnings aftermarket, you have all the time in the world to go back and look at the chart. Hey, where was the liquidity? You're watching it live. You can go back and replay it. You can look at all of your data. You don't get that when they release a number at 9 o'clock. You get to observe 15 to 20 minutes of trading, and then the game is on at 9:30, and you have to trade off of those. So that's why we're laser focused on Tesla, and both Obi and I were not really paying too much attention to anything else in the first, in the last 30 minutes going into the open, and then in the first 30 minutes after the open. That's where the focus had to be if you wanted it to be your best stock. So a lot of times, you'll get either earnings or a big economic number, or maybe in this case, a deliveries number right before the bell. And it's your job, if you're trading that stock, to quickly dissect the price action, identify a key support and resistance area if you can. In this case, it ended up being pretty clear. It's not always as simple. And then wait for it to trade off of those levels or set up off of those levels. And if it doesn't, you don't have to trade it. So shout out to Tesla for being a fantastic volatile stock today. I don't think it's done, but your lesson of the day is how to pick out those key levels when you've only got minutes to do so before the open. It can be done.
Thank you very much, Neil. All right, let's have a look here at AAPL, because this is the position that I've been in for a hot minute. We were able to get some out there at the 90s. Where are we long? We're long 66s. I'm still looking for a 227 break. It's been elusive. I mean, we've definitely got a 227 break earlier. I think it weaseled up to 4s or 5s, $227.04, 5 cents in and around that area. But as you can see, it's been doing this dance south of 227 for a hot minute. So you could say we've been doing this since around 11:35, give or take. That's when we really got into that 226s and 2/3 and onwards, essentially, between 2/3 to that whole dollar level. So it looks like we're possibly accumulating here. I'm obviously keeping an eye on the other Mag 7 names and the futures in general. What's keeping me kind of optimistic about this trade that we do break through that 227, Apple's still been respectful of the 10 moving average. Now, you've gotten the sideways consolidation. Sure, you're not making any higher highs and higher lows like you were in the more trending time of the day. Obviously, this is the more liquid time of the day, and you can see that depicted by the volume, but we haven't given up on the 10 either. So that's kept me somewhat optimistic, but I'm still kind of unsure or not whether or not we continue through that. Now, to what could hold us and what could hold up the Mag 7 in general is a 20,100 rejection. Looks like we've been working our way into that 20,100, already having touched 90s on the day. We've been definitely dancing a lot closer to the highs for the majority of the day than we have the lows, that's for certain. So we'll keep an eye on this name, Apple specifically, and the Mag 7 in general, to see if we can weasel our way into any trades. Gaurav, to answer your question, I saw it while Neil was doing the lesson of the day. I'm not holding my Meta anymore. I took it out for like a 75 penny winner super quick, but I like your question because look what Meta is doing. This thing is a dang rocket ship, and it's not skyrocketing. I kind of misspoke there, but it is definitely finding its footing. So that upward pattern, that upward channel, I should say, after that big move down initially continues to manifest. We're awfully close to the high of the day. We're about 60 or 50 pennies away from it. 576 is technically the high of the day. The closing print, I should advise you, is about 50 pennies higher than that. We closed out about 576.50 yesterday on Meta. So we'll continue to watch this. Quite strong and recovering quite nicely. You also have the likes of NVIDIA. Let's put some respect on this one's name. It's been knocking the door of 120, close to that, 119.29 HOD. Amazon as well, very respectful pattern here on the Zon. We're about 20 pennies away from the high, 186.60. We're printing 42s. Awfully respectful of the 10 exponential. Nary a closing print below it. Sure, it wicks below. And I love what Amazon did over here on the retracement into that 185.75, give or take. Look how it shadows the implied balance high. In case you don't know what the implied balance high is, it is the high and the low in the first hour of trading. I would submit to you this is the IB high over here at 185.70. 70-ish, and we come back and we defend that level. So if anybody was gauging their their Amazon entry off the IB high, looks like you're printing real well over here, Stea. So good look and a decent day for some of the futures after getting shellacked yesterday. You know what I mean?
Definitely a bounce.
Yep.
So right now I am looking at DJT. And so before we passed it off to Adara, we were really looking at this day's high. And so I said, guys, be careful with that day's high because we could blast off from there, but it also could be a rejection point. And so on the 3-minute, we did reject a little bit from 1630. And then we had this break here a little bit, 1624. We look like we are going down to VWAP. So I'd just be wary of that. 1586, we did a little bounce there, but I definitely think we could retrace a little bit down to VWAP because we are making, a lower trend here. On my Walmart, by the nick of a hair, I almost got stopped out by 2 cents, but it didn't.
No.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Oh,
I didn't. Yeah, it didn't get stopped out.
Good.
So I put my stop loss at 80.68. It went up around this 80.66 level. Or 80.60 or 80.64. So wow, like I thought I was gonna get stopped out there, and I was thinking, am I gonna manually punch out? But I have been working on these paper hands, and I'm really convicted in this trade. And so it rejected off of VWAP, and I'm kind of proud of myself because usually I like to put my stop loss at VWAP, but sometimes it may just liquidity grab at VWAP and then just continue to do the move that you want it to do. And so I just made it a little bit higher because I'm like, I'm not gonna get stopped out because I wanna know if I'm truly wrong. And so that was a nice look there. And so that is what I'm doing on Walmart. So we are trickling down a little bit. We're at 80.40 right now. My take profit is at 80.10. So I'm still going to wait for that level. I definitely think we could get there as well. LI, let's look at, is Baba
Yes, Liato. I like medical marinara. Is that what you're looking at? Medical marinara?
Really? Is that what someone said?
Yeah, it's literally medical marinara. I was like, yo, I love your name, dude.
For sure. So yeah, we're looking at here, LI. What I really like about this is that we have this distinct, it's this rejection here. So 28.73, so from 9.57, it made this bottom here around 28.60, and then it just comes down, it hits this around 28.74, and then it bounces back up. And I like that it has this rejection. And so it broke through this consolidation here around 29.25. So I really like that. We are approaching VWAP though, so I would be aware that, it could be a ceiling from there. But I definitely think that if we could cross VWAP around that 30 at that even dollar, I'd definitely be interested in where it could go from there. Let's look on a higher time frame here. I like the fact that it made that base, to be honest. I definitely think if you're going through the long, risking those lows around 28.60, around 28.58, and then looking for the long if it does cross VWAP. I really like the look on that one as well. That one looks really good. Google is turning out to be a liquidity grab. I took a long and plan to start trimming at VWAP. Let's take a look at Google. Yeah, definitely a liquidity grab. See, that's why I said be careful at those lows, guys. I really do like to take it off of the day's low, but you also have to be aware that that could be a bounce. So like I said with my bus stop analogy, I don't like to make an assessment on, okay, it's going to do something at this level. I want to look at what may it do at this level. And so I was looking at that level at that 164.87, and I said, let me see if there's a bounce or a rejection off of that level further, and we definitely saw a rejection, so definitely a good look there. Definitely would be aware of what that VWAP level is doing at 164.44. Definitely look out for that as well. FXI doing its thing right now. FXI, let's take a look at that.
Have you seen this on the daily?
No, I haven't.
Dang, rocket.
Daily, let's look at that. A little bit slow on the chart.
Let's go, Trading View.
Come on, just gonna reset it here. So with FXI, yeah, it's approaching this day's high. It rejected near that day's high around 250.84. That is I want to see what it does at this level at 248.45 because that is kind of a consolidation. Like I want to see if there may be a consolidation break from there because there was a consolidation around 11.27 to 11.57. So I want to see what it does from here. Definitely a good look on that. But because we are reaching those days high and it kind of rejected near and around that level, I definitely be wary of, oh, this is Tesla. Whoops, not even FXI. Sorry, guys. I was looking at Tesla. Looking at FXI, we have this downward slope here. And so I would just be wary of that, but I do like the fact that it's breaking through like near this VWAP. And so I would take it personally around 35.20. That would be like my confirmation level for the long, but definitely interesting here. I definitely like the fact that we have this base here at 34.45, and I like that it made that base. And we just keep trickling up, and so definitely we are on an uptrend on FXI, but I definitely want to see what it does at that VWAP level, just because that is my playbook personally. AAP 52-week lows, an opportunity to go long. Apple, let's see what we're doing with Apple. What did he say? To go long? I mean, what is your look on this? Because Apple, me and Apple don't get along. So I feel like I don't know. I just never have a good look on Apple. I try to stay away from it. I
don't day trade it well either, gotta be honest with you. This is like my biggest position far and away in my long-term account. Like I'm betting big on this super cycle, so there better be a dang super cycle. No, I'm kidding, of course. But I'm long.
Okay.
The reason I'm long is because we've been knocking on the door of 227 for a hot minute. So if I could bring in the 10 exponential, or sorry, the 5-minute chart now, I'm concerned now, guys. Because why? Yes, we've been very respectful of the 10 exponential moving average with every single closing print after 10 a.m. closing above the 10 exponential. There was only this one candle of indecision over here at 11.25 that actually wicked below, and then it ended up closing yellow. Yellow means basically neutral. We opened and closed at the exact same price. So you see two yellow candles there. So this is kind of like an area of indecision, but the thing that is keeping me optimistic about this Satea is it's awfully respectful of the 10 moving average. If there had been a reversion trade, in my humble estimation, we would definitely be breaking through the 10 on our way to the 20, maybe to test 226.25, which we know is the closing print from yesterday. So I'm packing my patience. I'm cognizant of the fact that there is somebody selling in the low 90s, high 80s over and over and over again. I put my stop where it is already. I'm ready to take this trade as it comes. I wet my beak on some profits. If it breaks 227, I'll be awfully happy. Let's see where it could go if it does breach 227 and move upwards. So it looks like there is a price action gap here, guys, between said 227 level and this area of consolidation that we had yesterday in the pre. Look, before we sold off bigly yesterday in that basically opening range sell-off, we were kind of defending 230. Look at that closing print, most of them above 230. Now, if you're going to base it on the wicks, you're going to get down about to 229.50. So if Apple squeezes through 227 and the future catches a bid, which I'm not really looking for, to be quite honest with you, I think we squeeze probably into this level. There's a bit of a gap there, but we'll have to see exactly what we get. Now, we're actually breaking down as I speak. For the first time, we're actually, if we close this way, and there's about 3 minutes left on this candle, will be the first time we actually close below the 10 exponential on the 5. Now you're seeing a lot of selling, as I said, into the mid to high 90s, not really working through into 227, but we just dipped here to make a new low, at least relative to the prior 5-minute candle. But again, we're not closing, not quite yet, below that 10 exponential. So I'm on the lookout for that. Really, that's all I'm basing it on. It wants to close below the 10 exponential. It breaks a trend, and then it gets my attention possibly to get out. But my stop's already in place. I've already wet my beak, and we'll see exactly what we get there. Yeah. So not much of an analysis other than to say holding the 10 exponential. right? So that's what I'm looking at there. Let's bring back to some small cap gappers today because people were asking about this in the chat. TOIP, guys, fantastic look off that 322 HOD, but I want to tell you because Ram is insisting that I tell you that you guys got to like and subscribe if you get anything out of these lessons, out of this midday trade when the volume is a little bit lower. Please give back to the channel by showing that you like, and if you want to watch us every day, subscribe so you get notified about what we're doing. We'll also drop these shorts. Shout out to Andre, who's been doing a hell of a job putting out that educational content every day. Shout out to him. He's doing great, by the way, and we're dropping new educational content for the newer viewers who don't necessarily know a lot of these patterns, a lot of the technical analysis that we often talk about on the show. So if you got anything out of this, we'd really appreciate you guys liking, subscribing, and doing your thing 25. So that is the look there. What are you looking at today?
So I had a correction there. So they were saying AAP, not AAPL. Sorry, guys. My eyes have been deceiving me today. So we're going to look at AAP. So if we zoom in here, we are at around this 3746 level. And so we are bouncing off of this 3732. This is the day's low. The fact that, so we have this range here at this 3828 and then this 3732 level. It's approaching those lows, but I would just be a little bit wary. I don't really have a really good look on this as of right now, just because it's not really something that I trade, to be honest. But let's just look on a higher time frame. Let's just see here. Yeah, I don't really have like the greatest look on this, to be honest. But what I can see here is we have this wick low from 945, and so this could be a place that we can look at.
What? Oh, I thought they were yelling at us.
Okay, I'm sorry, at this 3755 level, but I'm not too sure as of right now. This doesn't really look like a setup that I would take, so I don't really have like too much information. I am sorry. This is not really like something that I get into. But what else are you guys looking at? Coin and MSTR. Wow. MSTR is still blasting off. Let's see here. Oh my gosh, this does not let up. This does not let up. Yeah, I don't know, like, any ideas of where we could stop from here? Because I don't know, like, I thought that, the level that I would be looking at is like around 175.50. Woo, yeah, so, maybe that would be my look on there, but definitely blasting off.
I think it's like Michael Saylor buying another like 5,000 Bitcoins all at one time there. Remember? Like the dude, look, let me give the man credit. The man is committed. He is a true believer in every sense of the word. He financed the company. He heavily levered it to buy Bitcoin on, like, sometimes he was buying high, too, in the 60,000s. So the dude is committed.
If you know, you know. Like, he was convicted.
Who am I talking to over here, right? Like, I know you know, right?
For sure.
So that's the look there. Shout out to Joseph Hornet, just going to do the super chat real quick. Satea, I'm about to start a new job, so I won't be trading full time anymore, but thank you all of Trader TV Live so much for helping me become a better trader over these last 7 months and keep some money coming in. My man, we love what you have to say. We're going to wish you the best absolutely on your new venture. We hope you print up a storm in the figurative way, obviously, in your new job. And don't forget about us. Anytime you got a day off, you got a break, your manager's not looking, no big deal. You just jump in, right? Satea, I'll be on. Joe and I will be on in the Big Kahuna's always on, Satea. So thank you so much, Joseph Hornet, for the kind words. And we're wishing you very well on your new endeavors. Not that we know you.
Congrats for you. Definitely make the big bucks there at that job. And don't stop trading at all. Definitely leave some time for trading for sure.
All right, Satea, I'm going to wet my beak here at 227s because I'm tired of waiting. Apple's been dilly-dallying here with 227. Now, if it wants to take 227 on a closing basis and use it as support rather than as a resistance level, which is what it's doing right now, I'll get back in. I have that option. So we took out the entire trade, got in at 66s, out at exactly the whole dollar there, but I'm very interested in getting back into Apple should it claim 227 on a closing basis and use it as support. We shall pack our patience and find out if that is the case. I don't want to say I'm bearish because that's not how I'm feeling, but I am aware of the fact that we've been kind of consolidating with the top level being a skosh below that 20,100. Like the technical high of the day is 20,900 or 90, 20,090 and 25. And we really haven't, even attempted to breach those levels that we put in back at 1120 or so. So we're still above these moving averages on the future, but I'm, cognizant of this turning into a rounded top. And for us to start making incrementally lower highs and lower lows. If that's the case, and we start doing that, then it could be an interesting short off the top over here. Not saying that that's going to manifest, just saying possible that is what it will be. Clean trade. Shout out to you, Medical Marinera, which I love that name, by the way. It's a fantastic name. I appreciate you, brother. And keep on looking at these small cap gappers, because I think that's what he was looking at earlier too. So shout out to him. TOP, fantastic look here, bouncing off that 290. There is a seller though. There is a seller of note in and around 3. Initially, it looked like he was keeping, or they were keeping it south of 3. It does breach, weasels up to 306, but look, we're still, having trouble with $3. Now, I don't like topping tail candles. I don't like them, especially near highs, because you kind of feel like possibly the sellers are overwhelming these buyers incrementally. Now, that may not be the case, okay? But I'm just cognizant of these topping tail candles that come in, especially as we bounce off the highs. But this is an awful good respect here with the 10 exponential moving average. But you know what else we got coming up next? From one small cap to another, we got the small cap segment. Get it, Adara.
One of the small caps here on this list actually is going to be TOP. But first, we'll take a look here at the IWM, which is making a pretty nice looking bull flag actually here on that 15-minute chart. We have these two initial candles of strength here right off the open, now consolidating around that 217.50 area. So let's see what results here for that Russell 2000. First stock on watch here, of course, is going to have to be Wheeler, WHLR. This one is a real estate investment trust. It's run semi-frequently on and off here. Right now up over 100%. Nice market cap boost with that rally. Last number I saw was around just under $10 million market cap, up from $5 million earlier today. Also worth noting here, really small float, 620,000 shares. Short float going to be about 25% for WHLR. Next up, we have MEGL. This one pushing a little bit lower, but getting a couple nice volume pops in here. This is Magic Empire Group. They're actually a penny stock here, trading right now around 66 cents. They do have, it's worth noting, a float of just under 10 million shares. And last but not least, of course, TOP. So to give some more details on this one, it is a Chinese ADR, likely moving in sympathy with all those Chinese ADRs. We know a lot of these small cap runners lately have been in that space due to the ongoing excitement over the stimulus coming out of China, and the Hang Seng Index actually having its best single-day performance in 2 years yesterday. Worth noting as well here, too, for TOP in terms of details here, we've got a float of just over 5 million shares. From what I'm seeing, about 5% of that is going to be sold short, guys.
Thank you very much for that, Adara, dropping hot lines as they come. Obviously, keep your eye out for some of these small cap gappers. IWM obviously in play today. The Rust is down a little bit, 0.12. Looks like the NQ's taking the cake today, up 0.38. The Dow flat, Rust down 0.13, and the ES essentially flat as well, 0.07. So not much doing there.
Better than yesterday, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes. What are you looking at?
Yes, so someone said Amazon in the chat, and so I thought this was really interesting. It's approaching this day's high level at 185.66. So I definitely think that this is going to be an interesting pivotal level. Usually, a lot of the time, I like when it retraces down to that day's high. And then hopefully we could see a bounce here around 185.70. And so that's what I'd be looking at there for Amazon. DJT, just wanted to touch a little bit on that. Definitely liquidity grabbed that top. So I'm so glad that we said, be careful, guys, because it did retrace down to VWAP around this 1584 level. So definitely interesting. If it breaks this VWAP level, I don't know. I'm definitely not liking the look of that, but I'm glad that we kind of called that top around there. So going back to my Walmart trade, Walmart, I've been in this, and I feel like this is like one of the longest trades that I've ever been in, because usually I'm a scalper, right? And so I'm waiting for that 80-10 level. And so hopefully, I like the fact that we have this break, and then it has this break, this consolidation, and hopefully it just makes those legs down. So I'm liking that. I just like the fact that it rejected off of that VWAP, and then it hasn't really retraced back up there. So I'm definitely liking the look of that. What else are you guys looking at? NVIDIA, let's look at that. My lover, NVIDIA, what are you doing today? I know, I'm not the best singer, but, I'm not going to give up.
I'm not even criticizing your voice. It just came out of nowhere. I wasn't ready for that.
Yes. So we're looking at that. And so we are consolidating these highs. Definitely a pivotal level. See, I really like the fact that it's not breaking below this level too much, around this 118.70. So definitely looking at that as a pivotal level. I like the consolidation, and maybe around 3-4, around power hour, if we could break this 119.28, I definitely like to see a continuation for the long, but definitely a spot that I'd really want to be focusing on right here at this level here. What is this? 2K likes on stream for
2K likes Sharifa Satea breakdance battle, or Neil and Adara rap battle.
Neil and Adara rap battle? I don't know. I feel like Adara would go crazy with the pun. Like, she has like the puns going on, and so I think she would go crazy because
Neil memorizes really well though, so he knows a lot of songs off by heart. Do you remember when? Say that again. Oh, well, Adara's got an eidetic memory. What am I saying? Do you remember when he used to do his Friday battles? Were you watching?
No, I wasn't.
Okay,
no.
So every Friday, I think they got it. Bring back Adara. Every time they brought it, or we got, I think, like 2,000 likes or something like that, Neil would rap battle. Adara proposed it, right? But we didn't. I want to see that. Adara, will you rap if we get 2,000?
Yes.
1,000%.
1,000%.
I will be rapping.
I love it. All right, guys, do your thing. You heard what the woman has to say. You want to hear her rap. You want to see us breakdance battle. I don't know how that's going to work. I'll have to do it at the green screen. Or if you want to see Neil and Adara rap it off, get into that chat right while on the chat. Go to the stream and make sure to hit the like and subscribe, not just or subscribe.
Subscribe today.
There you go, baby. And I'll get him to tell you as well, because maybe you won't want to hear what I have to say.
Take this opportunity to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Why is it choppy like that, Ram? Upgrade. Sorry about that. We didn't know it was going to be too choppy. Shout out to the Katina man. We're missing him today. All right, I just got into Clover. This thing has been awfully strong. I look to take it off a bit of a dip trade here. CLOV. It's awfully directional, holding the 10 exponential. It's really going to have to hold the 10 exponential. Otherwise, I'm not staying in this trade, because it's been holding the 10 exponential all morning and so far all afternoon on the 5-minute chart. That is a 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart. So I'm looking at getting in here, hopefully weaseling up a little bit more. You're not getting big moves out of this one, but it's quite consistent. I don't know for sure, but this smells like a buy program to me. You never really know what's on the other side, but this one looks awfully directional. Looks like big money maybe positioning into this. You never really know. Sateo was just dropping hot lines about Donald John Trump, and I'm looking at it right now. We've got DJT up over here, and I was very, very happy to see a respectful, cordial debate yesterday between the two VP candidates. It's funny that I even have to mention that, because that's kind of the exception now, not the rule. I felt that they both did very well. And, despite the fact that I fundamentally disagree with one of the candidates on a lot of the issues, I respect, chapeau to them as well. I felt that they did a fantastic job in keeping civility back in, or bringing civility back into politics, which has not been the case lately. So that's a look there. In Clove, this thing's knocking on the door of 329. It'll probably take out a little bit if it's able to break above 330. There's about, let's see how many shares. These are lots. There's about, 1,000 lots, give or take, maybe a little bit less than 1,000 lots sitting at 30. So we'll pack our patience and see what kind of print we get up there, Satea.
Awesome. So I'm looking at this Nike as of right now, and I'm liking the look of it. I'm going to risk at this low. Oh, we can't even see it on here, but I'm going to pull it up. So at this 83.48 level, I'd like to see, I think I'm going to risk off of there. I definitely think that there is a little bit of a bounce there. I'm going to be taking profits around this 84.64, so I'm definitely going to put in a trade for there. So I'm gonna wait. Actually, I'm gonna wait for the break of 84. I definitely think that if we could reach up there, we can definitely get it. So I'm gonna put my 83.99 and my trigger price at 84.
Bang.
And then I'm gonna put my stop loss at that low. So this low here, so around 83.47. I don't want it to like liquidity grab from there, so I'm gonna put it around 83.42, and hopefully we don't get liquidity grab there. So that's what I'm gonna do right now.
How's the food?
The food?
Yeah.
It was good initially.
And we are in, and so I'm gonna wait for that to trigger. We are 2 cents away from that, and so that's what I'm looking at in terms of Nike, because I don't know, like I know it was like mixed reviews with the earnings, but I'm gonna take a stab at it, and we're gonna see where we go from there. Oh, this triggered the wrong thing. What are you looking at, Sharif?
I'm in Clove, Satea. We're looking at wet our beak here on the break of 30s. We're printing 30s right now. That is the HOD. As you can see, now we've ascended into the actual price level, so we can see a fuller book here. Don't ask me why, but once we get closer to the price, you can see the real size. Once you move away from the price, you don't see all the gateways. I don't know how the software works, but that's the design. And right now, you get a bit of a better look. So on MyX, we have the largest lottage there at 451 lots. And then EXP's got about 125. And then look at this. Let's talk about some level 2 here. 125 on EdgeX and EXP. To me, that's the same seller. There's no hard and fast rule. Again, 69 on NSB and another one on NASDAQ, 70. To me, that smells of the same seller. I talked about this last time. There's a software called Bookmap. Essentially, I'm not advocating for them, nor are we sponsored by them. But one of the cool features they have is they have this AI predictive program built in. And when it sniffs out these levels or these orders that seem to be possibly from the same seller or the same buyer, works both ways, it will present it to you that way. What do I mean by that? So let's just say, for example, on Clove, that there was, let's just say, a layered seller who posted 500 shares for sale at 340. Below that, he's got another 500 at 339, and again at 338. Let's just say the price drops, but that same seller with the layered order of 500, 500, and 500 separated by 1 penny, all of a sudden drops from 340 to 330. Now he's posting 330, 329, 328. That is likely the same seller just moving down to take advantage of the drop in price. So you've got to be cognizant of that by looking at the gateways. Now, obviously, you got to have access to the gateways to be able to see them, and that you got to usually pay for to be able to see all the different gateways, right? Otherwise, you're only going to be able to see the gateways that you pay for or that level 1. That doesn't help, in this situation. So just think about what I said there. 126, 126, 69, 69. That's Rammer. 127, 127, 75, 75. That is likely the same person posting in that or those orders on different gateways. It's not a hard and fast rule. It's just something to be aware of. Why? Because we want to look down. If the price moves down, does that same seller who's layering their orders like that come down with us? Because if there is, we need to have notice of them because they are a problem for us ascending. So that is my little spiel there about these small cap gappers, and I'm still not getting filled at 130, despite the fact that or 330, excuse me, despite the fact that I should be higher in priority. And now we get the fill, baby, because we took out the seller at 30. So let's see how well we can do here on the way up, printing 32s. The buy program is in full effect today, baby, on CLOV. Love this. J. Dang Lee. Sharif, FLR gave more than $1 from the opening low. Was curious if you saw the message from Bears yesterday. Thought of Helene Storm. Absolutely. Bears versus Bulls sent me that message right away. I thanked him for sending me. The world's greatest moderator, obviously doing a fantastic job. And I did look at that, Jay. Thank you for following up on that too, because I know you care about your calls, as do I. So shout out to Jay. Love that from him. What are you looking at, Satea?
So there was like something wrong with my keys, so I didn't really get in where I wanted to. I was putting an order in at 83.98, and then I got filled at a price that I didn't really want. But I'm just getting in 83.84, and I'm still looking at to risk off of this 83.42, and so I'm looking at that, looking for the long for that long on Nike. So that's what I'm looking at. So that hopefully, where am I going to take profits? I think as of right now, 84.69 is definitely going to be my take profit level. So that is what I'm looking at right now. So SMCI, someone said that in the chat. So let's look at that SMCI. This is looking really good still. I would say though, just be a little bit careful. That retracement that I'm looking at is around this high, so around 41.48. I would say if I'm waiting for the continuation of the long, I would look passively to get in around this 41.47, wait for that retracement back, and then hopefully we can continue to the upside, breaking those highs. So that is what I'm looking at right now. And my Nike trade is in the money. I didn't actually plan to get in at that price, but hey, it's working out. So that is looking good as of right now. I'd love to see what you guys are looking at. Put in the chat what you guys are looking at, and then I will take a look at it and do some analysis there. So let's look at that. So SMCI, someone's saying Tesla looks like it wants to go down. Let's look at Tesla. Yeah, Tesla reversion. See that 250? I really like those even dollar level, those psychological levels, 250, 300. Obi over there is saying reversion. It's definitely looking like that as of right now. It's breaking through this consolidation as of right now. It's breaking through that pivotal level, 248. And I definitely think that it could retrace down to this $247.12, $247 mark. So definitely, looking a little bit reversion-y. So yeah, definitely that is a good look on the short on Tesla. Looking really good. AMD. Let's look at AMD. AMD. Oh, I like this. AMD, it's approaching that VWAP level. I really think that is a pivotal level. For me personally, I think that if it breaks through this VWAP level of 161.35, which is continuing to do short, I'm looking for that short. And so a bus stop level that I would look at is this 160.68. It is the pre-market high. I definitely like to see what it does at that level for that little bus stop level, and then see what it does from there. But if it stays above this VWAP, I definitely can look for the continuation of the long, just because we are, we're respecting this trend. But if it breaks through that VWAP level and I look on a higher time frame, look at the 45-minute, look at the hour, I definitely think that is a pivotal spot. But because it's breaking through this high around 161.38, or it's around that high, yesterday's high, I definitely, not the high, but it's at this level, 161.38, I definitely look at that pivotal level there. So that's what I'm looking at in terms of AMD. Google, we'll go back to Google.
Oh, 50-period retracement. Love this.
Oh, on Google?
Mm-hmm. It rejected initially off the 50 on the 5. I don't know how you see it. You have that top. It's exactly where my 50 is, literally at no, that middle one. The middle one.
This one?
No.
Oh, here.
No, right there. That top.
Right
there,
this
right
top.
where you have
Oh,
your line.
okay,
You actually have the top.
Yes. Yeah, well, I drew that after,
Okay.
but yeah, looking at that range, it did liquidity grab at that level. I think it was Gorav in the chat saying that he got out around there. Definitely a good look because it's breaking through this VWAP and it could go higher from there. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at in terms of Google. Sound. I know this is more of like a small cap, not really my type of thing. What do you think about that, Sharif?
Yes, Ram. It's trade the pool, bruh.
Oh, yes.
Are we ready for that? Can we do that? Or is that no? In a minute. Oh, I'm sorry, Ram. Okay. Don't worry about the screens. I'm worrying about stuff I shouldn't worry about. She's got it. Come on. All right, guys, let's have a look at some of these Mag 7 names because I haven't been looking at these for a hot minute. Looks like the soft one is awfully weak at the moment. So we did have this nice higher low situation with the 50 kind of generally acting as that level of resistance. And now we're kind of breaking through that on our way down to 418. I'm going to be all eyes and ears to see if we break 418 on a closing basis. The reason I'm even using that level is this is an area low right here off which we got bought up aggressively. And how I can tell by that, because it finished in a hammer candle. And here we come with 418 again, so softy, awfully weak. This is what I was talking about with Satya on Google. This is basically the exact top. She has this trend line drawn here. This is my 50 exponential, as you viewers of the show will know. The red squiggly lines, not the dotted, these ones over here, but this one over here is the 50 exponential on whatever time frame I'm looking. And so this one weaseled up into that 50 exponential earlier, and it had trouble breaking. Look what it's doing now. Surprise, dang, surprise. 165.50 having issues with that 50 exponential. Again, I don't need to be first, but I'm cognizant of it because if Google, to me, Google's, is it the weakest name? No, Tesla's the weakest name on the day, followed by Google down 0.84. So certainly want to play weakness if I can get in on the right or get in at the right price on GOOGL. So keeping my eye on that. Microsoft still doing the dance with 418. This could be an interesting along too for a nice quick scalp trade possibly into that 419.5 frame we're in. But we're ready to go now. So are you ready? All right, trade the pool, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine trading with someone else's capital instead of your own. That's what it means to be a funded trader at Trade the Pool. And this is how it works. Complete the evaluation program by meeting your profit target. Once you succeed, you trade the pool's capital, which gives you the ability to trade up to $260,000 in buying power. The best part is you keep up to 80% of your profits while the firm takes all the risk. It's the ultimate way to trade, whether you're a beginner or a professional trader. So go right now, check it out, tradethepool.com. I went over to their website and it looks certainly promising. Scan that QR code on the screen or click the link in the description of the video if you'd like more information. Shout out to the good folks there at Trade the Pool. We had that Cats guy on with Brendo, and he was dropping hot lines about TA. My man knew he was TA.
Oh,
so I was all ears and whatever other sensory organs.
Oh, the British guy from yesterday?
No.
Oh.
Which British guy? Remind me.
Oh, there was someone here on the desk.
Oh, that's Adam.
Oh, okay,
no,
never
he's
met
a viewer.
him.
He's a legit viewer. He's from London. Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah, he's an Arsenal fan. So we had to, you know.
Got to put him on.
Yeah, of
sure.
course, right? He's an algo trader, that guy. Basically, everything's automated. And he was like, we went out after, watched Arsenal game, and he was, giving me the spiel about how he was doing the algo trading, which is kind of cool, to be honest with you. Take emotions out of it. We like to pretend like we're logical beings, but I think the humans are more emotional than they are logical.
For sure.
I think that has an issue with trading. We'll wax poetic in a second, but we're going to throw it up to Dara. She's got some for us at the big desk.
We have another new IPO here today. This one's going to be Standard Arrow. SARO, up about 30% right now. This is interesting. Initially, apparently, this IPO was priced at $24, then getting priced here at $26 per share on 60 million shares, actually opening at $31.16. So quite the price increases here for this SARO, currently on what looks like its 6th minute of trading here on that 1-minute chart. Standard Arrow trading on the NYSE, guys.
Thank you for that, Dara. I'm down for some more IPOs. I think, they've been few and far between as of late, especially when you compare it to 2020, 2021. There was every week direct listings, SPACs, IPOs, you name it. There were companies coming onto the market. So it's nice to see them coming back. What are you looking at?
Sure. So right now I am looking at Intel because someone shouted out Intel in the chat and they were saying, is it looking like a good long? And as of right now, at least for my playbook personally, because it broke down through this VWAP, I like it for the short personally. But the thing is, we have this consolidation here, just like a small one on the 3-minute chart. And so we see a bounce from here. Okay, it is bouncing. I would say that if it can go through this VWAP again and hit around this, I would say a pivotal level, 22.93, then I would be interested in the long as of right now. But typically, just for a quick scalp, usually because it crossed VWAP, I'm looking for that short. So that's my look on that. And someone also talked about the QQQs, looking pretty bearish on the day. And so, it doesn't look bearish, but we are retracing back to VWAP around this 481.40. I definitely think it can get there. So that is definitely a pivotal level that I would be looking at as well. I took some profits on my Nike trade. Yes, so I was looking at that. A profit target that I was looking at was this high around 84.64, but I just took it out. I know a little bit of a paper hands, but if I really like it and I'm liking, this 84.20, if we can go above there, then maybe I might get back in. But as of right now, I just took a quick scalp, and that's what I'm looking at as of right now. So what else are you guys looking at? We says long AMD here. So let's take a look at AMD. AMD, I mean, this is looking not so good. So we did have that trend line, but I was talking about this last time, and I was saying that if we, break through this trend line here, then it looks pretty bad, and it looks like it could be a short. So me personally, right now, I'd be risking around 160, 163, looking for that short. We are crossing that pivotal level of that pre-market high around 160.70, and I definitely think that AMD, as of right now, looks like a short for me. Profit target that I'd be looking at is this bus stop level here around 159.50, and then if we breach that, then maybe we could see day's low around 158.66. So that is my look on AMD. So what else are we looking at? Tesla.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you're obviously into crypto. Have you ever explored mining?
I've thought about it, to be honest, because in my building, I don't have to pay for electricity or anything like that. So I really thought about it, but I don't know. I don't know at this time.
Is it worth it still, or what's the situation?
See, I don't. I don't.
The halving event and whatever, right?
I don't know much about. I just didn't know what resources to get into in terms of mining. What was actually legit. So I haven't really ventured into that, to be honest. Have you mined at all?
I haven't. No, the reason I was even thinking about it is because people were talking about these GPUs, and I'm like, the former use case for GPUs was obviously not AI, it was mining.
Yeah.
Right? For a lot, that's like what NVIDIA, the tailwind that they caught during the crypto boom, right? It was gaming during the pandemic, right? Because everybody was stuck at home. And then it was after that, we got that crypto boom, and I think in 21 or 22, whatever it was, 21, no, not 22, we lost in 22. So I was thinking, maybe you had dabbled in it or something.
The thing is, I didn't really get into it because I have a Mac, and so I don't know if the Mac can really handle all of that power, to be honest. I think it would be a little bit of strain on my little Mac. So, that's why. But if I had a PC,
Fair.
I would definitely be into that, and I'd look into that. But just the constraints of what I have.
Respect. Yeah. I'm just checking with you.
For sure.
All right, guys. I just want to let you know that I'm in Donald John Trump. I'm looking at getting in. I'm in at DJT at 82s. We're printing 88. Reason is because we were awfully close to VWAP. Well, we were at VWAP, not awfully close. Excuse me. We did find a bit of a base. So if we curl up here, I'll be looking to scalp. Volume weighted average price at $0.75. We're below the 10 and the 20 right now in a consolidative look. But if we can work our way maybe back into the low 16s, maybe a little shy of 16s, maybe in the mid 90s, I'll be looking to print a little bit there. So Donald John Trump is a long that I've got right now. So we'll see exactly how this works out. Printing 88, as I said, but looking at wetting my beak there in the mid 90s. All right, Clove worked its way up into 35s, now pulling back into 33s. Not the biggest winner. We already wet our beak at 30s. Let's do a little bit of charting, man. Let's figure out what the situation is on Clove, where we could expect some resistance if we hit there. All right, so let's go to the daily, let's go to the daily. Let's figure out what the situation is with the daily. All right, this candle over here on September 3rd, what is the high? The high, guys, is 285. What the hell? 286, essentially. No, that can't be right. That's the closing print. What am I talking about? 333. Okay, so 333. Now, we know we have resistance right where we are right now because this candle on September 3rd topped out at $3.33. We're at $3.33 right now with a high of 335. So I'm expecting resistance right here. That's not the end of the story. If we break through it, what's the next move? Well, we've got incrementally higher highs. We've got to look at the candle here on August 27th with a high there of 339. You get it. Above that, 350. So we're going to have to take care of this 333 first by getting some distance away from it, and then I'll feel a lot more confident that this one runs up maybe into that $0.50. So CLOV in play, but we are at resistance right now, at least with my estimation. So we'll pack our patience, see what we get there. Let's quickly look at Donald John Trump. So yeah, we did reject, what is that, double eights. We'll have to pack our patience. Anything below 75, I'm Gonzino. It's going to have to hold this level. It's not a guess trade. It's trying to put the probability back on my side type of trade. So that's what I'm looking at there. ND Trade says Nike is printing. Oh, baby. Let's have a look at Nike. It was a big shellacking yesterday for Nike as the new CEO pulls the guidance, and the street was not happy with that. As you can see, we spiked up there on the algo spike into 93 and then tanked. Where did we tank to? 81. Not a bad move. And then we found that 81 as a bit of a base. We used that this morning, in fact, as support. So we didn't actually make a newer low in today's trading day relative to the aftermarket low we had yesterday. We're still below, though, that initial drop. Like, look at that retracement level after that 81.50 drop. We weasel back into about 85.50, 85 and a third. We're still well below that. We're actually below 85. So this is the area that I'm looking at for us to take out on Nike for the trend to really revert here. These candles at 11.15, at an 11.20, they weaseled up into 84 and 2/3. If we can break above that, then, you know, we definitely have a shot at 85. NKE, a bit of a tougher look, obviously, there for investors, but, you know, I'd rather pull the guidance and have some short-term headwinds than longer-term problems by, you know, not doing what I need to. So I'm talking about the CEO, obviously, in his new position.
Mm-hmm. So right now, I'm going to weasel over to my Walmart trade, and I am just so glad that I put my stop loss where I did, because if I got out early, I would have been so mad the fact that we are down through my entry level at 80.33, and so went up, and I was just like, I don't know about this trade, because it retraced up to around 80.65, but now we are near my entry level and we are going down. And so now I'm just trying to decide, you know, should I keep my my profit target at 80.10? I think that's reasonable. I don't think that it's too far off, so I'm definitely think that I'm going to keep it there. It just has to break below this 80.22, which is the day's low, and I definitely think it could reach there on Walmart. So definitely, like, I would say, because it went through that level like twice, like we approached that 80.33 level twice, I definitely think that this is a time to really get heavy for that Walmart short. So definitely for Walmart, guys, that Walmart short is looking good and amazing. So that is what I'm looking at. What else are you guys looking at? Oh, Adara, yep. Sorry.
Get it, Adara.
Let's touch back in the crypto space. Not too much going on here with BTC, but what about some of these other names? Ripple actually getting a bit of a catalyst here. Around 1 hour ago, I'm seeing here Bitwise filing for the first XRP ETF application. We know Ripple also has been involved here with regards to the SEC, so Ripple's certainly been a bit of a commodity on watch here. We don't know if we'll get SEC granting that application, but we know this year alone, we had first that in January, we had the BTC ETF, the spot BTC ETF approval. Then going into late July, we get the Ethereum ETF approval. So let's see what happens here with XRP or Ripple. In the meantime, how about we take a look at its daily chart? We do have Ripple at a pretty interesting level here on the daily. This is clearly an area that we're trying to kind of rest on, that we have chopped and turned around for a little bit here. There's going to be that 0.584 area, more or less. This is also a level that we've used as support going back to March 2024, as well as a little bit of resistance. So this could be an interesting level here for XRP. Interesting catalyst in that crypto space to be aware of today, guys.
Thank you very much for that, Adara. I just want to mention this trade I had super quick here on the Fuge. The Fuge, as you guys saw, took a bit of a nosedive there while Adara was dropping hot lines, and it came into a very interesting area for me. This white thin line over here, I think you guys can see it, that one right there, that is yesterday's closing print on the Fuge. And then the thicker white line, the one that's not completely horizontal, that's diagonal, is, well, they just had you on camera. That is the volume weighted average price. So the price came right into two areas of what I gauged to be support. The closing print from yesterday in the volume weighted average price, a level that we hadn't been at essentially since 10 a.m. this morning. So I punched on the triple Qs. I'm happy with this trade. I was able to scalp. I don't anticipate this to be a big reversion trade back to the top, but I knew that there was something to be had there based on the fact that you had the closing print and VWAP both intersecting at that same area. So I was able to get in for a nice little 20-penny winner here on the triple Qs. Happy with this one. We'll look to set up for something else. Still in Donald John Trump, looking for a 90s break. It's holding VWAP. What's my Clove doing? Yeah, anticipating resistance at triple threes. We already know that we have resistance at triple threes. So we're going to keep an eye out on that. Satea, anything you want to mention before we set up for the lesson of the day?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm looking at SPY, and it broke this trend. So we drew these trend lines here, and usually when there is a break, I think that is a very interesting look. We are not blasting, but we are breaking through VWAP, and so I'm liking this for the short. A level that I'm looking at is 565 for a potential take profit there, but I definitely want to see a break below 567.77 for a potential short on SPY, and then onto the lesson for you.
Fantastic. I'm going to flatten out my Clover trade here because I don't want to be, it's a larger position, so I don't want to be managing this while I have to do the lesson, but I'm going to leave Donald John Trump here because it's a smaller position. So I'm not as much at risk, obviously. I like what DJT is doing. It's holding VWAP, but that is really going to be the key here, guys. VWAP is why I'm in this trade. If it doesn't hold, that's the end of that. Let's talk about some level 2 though. All right, we're talking about level 2 and volume, guys, and the intersection of these obvious tools together. So let's start right to it. So traders, sharpen your focus. Today we delve into volume analysis, the king of the order book. Sorry. All right, let's always, as we always do, let's start off with a very, very basic explanation of what each topic is. Volume. Essentially, volume represents the total number of shares traded at each price level. Total number of shares at each price level. It's the voice of the market, essentially, reflecting the intensity behind the price movements. High volume will suggest to you strong conviction, either bullish or bearish, works both ways, while low volume indicates a lack of market interest. Kind of, a very simple explanation. You okay, Patty? You okay? Patty, I've never heard that from you before, bro. I was like, what's going on back there? We love you anyway, Patty. All right, gapping up. Let's talk about what volumes have to do with these gaps, especially on the level 2. So news catalysts can cause stocks to gap up, which are price jumps above the previous day's closing price, and the gap manifests at the open the next day. Volume plays a very crucial role in interpreting the gap sustainability. Let's talk about these high volume breakouts. So if the breakout from the gap is accompanied by high volume, it signifies to you strong buying pressure and potentially a sustained move upwards. This is a good sign, essentially, if you want to get into long positions. Low volume breakouts, though, on the other hand, you should be cautious of, especially when they're gapping down with low volume. These breakouts or breakdowns are more susceptible to being filled. How many times have we heard gaps get filled? It's not always true. So yeah, these low volume breakdowns are more susceptible to being filled as there's less conviction behind the move. And what I'm talking about when I talk about gaps, just so you guys can visualize it, is a breakthrough where there is no price action. So we'll have closed here, let's say on a Monday, and then we open there on the Tuesday. And in between here, there's been no trading. And this is kind of how we break down. This is the down gap there. And this is important because we should be looking at this gap over here, and we should definitely be analyzing the volume that it gapped down with. And look at this, above average volume. You can kind of compare it to its predecessor. Sure, we have big volume days over here, but I think we can all agree this volume bar right here is above average, above the majority. It's definitely higher than the majority of the previous candles that printed before it. Let's talk about volume and its role in confirmation. Super important as well. Volume analysis alone isn't enough. You need to integrate it with other signals for confirmation. One such signal is the order book confirmation. Here you're looking for high bid volume concentrated mostly at the breakout level on the order book, of course. This will reinforce to you the buying pressure, which is suggested by that higher overall volume. But you should also look not just at the order book, but at the price action at confirmation. What do I mean by that? You need to observe how the price behaves after the breakout. Great, we've broken through 200 on Amazon. Fantastic. What's the price doing afterwards? Is it tanking? Is it a specialist breakout to get everybody along and then, definitely push it short to screw everybody over? I was going to use a different word. Or does it continue up? So does it quickly fall back, or do we get that continuity through 200? Sometimes that won't be readily apparent on the order book, right? Because you're not going to see those buy orders step in with you. Remember, we were talking yesterday about keeping an eye on the level 2, and I just want to pull this up for a sec. So, for example, if I'm long Donald John Trump right now, I'm long at 82s. Let's just say, for example, there isn't, but let's just say, for example, there's a big boy buyer here at 80s. 2 pennies below me. How does that influence my trade? Well, if there's a big seller that comes in that pushes DJT down, at least I can know that there's a big buyer at 80 that could backstop or potentially stop the bleeding of the price action below that level, even if it's momentarily. Okay, at least it gives me an opportunity to get it if I don't have a stop. The point is to look and see if the buyers are moving up with you. Okay, so price action confirmation, super important, not just what you're seeing on the level 2. And this is kind of what I'm talking about here. So we're moving along our merry way. I punch in, $750 on whatever ticker this is. Look at the insane amount of size sitting at 700. So if I'm long $700.50, I'm looking at this size over here and saying, okay, I feel a little bit better because there's a huge buyer sitting at 700 that could possibly backstop the bleeding stop the bleeding, I should say, if the price comes down from a big seller. It's not a hard and fast rule, and you need to know that bamboozlement certainly takes place with this strategy because people will post orders to give you the false impression that there is a support level there only to pull the order once the price comes close to their entry. It's illegal to do that. It's called spoofing, but it's done all the time, and you need to be aware of it. Let's talk about, beyond the breakouts. What is the volume whispering to you? We're just joking, of course, when we say that. Volume analysis, Ram, isn't limited to breakouts. Here are some additional insights. You should be looking at increasing volume on the pullbacks. If a stock pulls back, if a stock pulls back after a breakout but finds support with increasing volume, it's suggesting to you that buyers are stepping in and potentially indicating a buying opportunity. So be on the lookout for that. But you should also be on the lookout for sudden spikes in volume. So these sudden spikes in volume, especially on seemingly random price movements, can be a warning sign of hidden news or even market manipulation. Be cautious and investigate further before taking a trade. So oftentimes we're watching a stock, all of a sudden buy orders come in, sell orders come in. What the hell is happening? Well, these algos likely are reacting to a news story that just broke. We may not know what that news story is until maybe a minute or so later, 30 seconds, whatever it is. The algos usually react way quicker than you can, but it's incumbent upon you to find out what the hell is going on before you punch in because you need to know whether it's legitimate or not, right? And all I'm showing you over here is breakout on higher volume. You break that resistance level and you look at the candles supporting that breakout, and if it's above average, it's a good look. Let's talk about volume and these order types. We've talked about this in the past, these iceberg orders, hidden sellers, hidden buyers. These are basically there's high volume if there is high volume after a partial iceberg order fulfillment, this can signal a much larger order lurking beneath, potentially impacting the price action. And I love this infographic over here kind of depicting what the iceberg order is like. Just like a regular iceberg on the seas, only shows part of its actual mass above the water, above the surface of the water. And this over here is a video that I've really wanted to include. It's actually quite important over here because it is showing you a real life example of what a hidden seller looks like. I want you guys to keep your eye on this level, $7.20. Watch as we ascend into 720, how an insane amount of selling comes in, despite the fact that there's no big sell order that is sitting at that 720 level. Let's watch it in real time. So now we're at 720. We're not breaking through it. Look at all the prints come in. And this is big boy volume. You can see the volume up there. We're at 8.6 million. And we keep coming in. There's not enough size at that 720 to prevent us from going down. That usually is an indication that we have a bit of an iceberg order there. And sorry, just an advanced tip over here. Last little point, volume at support and resistance. This is important as well. You should be monitoring the volume at previously identified support and resistance zones. High volume selling at resistance can confirm a potential reversal, while high volume buying at support can certainly indicate a potential bounce. I hope everybody prints up a storm. Oh, I got stopped out of DJT. Sucks.
Damn.
It's okay.
It's okay. I know. I'm sure you're printing on other things. So as of right now, I saw Baba in the chat, and I thought this was really interesting. I like this level here at 114.60, bounced off of that VWAP, and so I like it for the short right now. So I would say, oh, I didn't mean to do that, but if we're looking here, right now I'm looking at this 113.60, looking for the short, probably risking above VWAP around 114.80 and looking for the downside for that with a bust stop take profit around 112.31 for my take profit level. And I got out of Walmart as well, so if I just pivot over to there, so my original take profit level was 80.10, and so I definitely still believe that we can get to that level, but we are retracing a little bit up, and so I had my take profit around 24s, 25s, but I think that there could be a violent, retracement, and my entry was at 80.33, and so I don't want it to really get to that level, so I just locked in those profits and took that from Walmart, because I've been in it for a while, to be honest, so I got a little bit antsy and just took it out for a winner. So I could finally, I know I did the wrong one, but I could finally do that, wet that beak, yes, that beak wetter, and I finally got that, so good luck on Walmart.
Love it.
And then so another person wanted to look at Apple, and they were asking about the reaction between QQQs and Apple. Apple doesn't really look like it's reacting to what the QQQs are doing. It's still kind of holding that 226.58. It's still in that range. It's consolidating those highs. So definitely very interesting. Usually I find, at least I use the QQQs as a leading indicator for what, the Mag 7 may do. And Apple's not really following that suit. It looks like it's on its own thing. It's on its own move. So I just more so look at the range, this 226.55, and then these highs here around 227.07. And I'd see what it does from there. Again, I don't want to anticipate what it does. I want to see. And so I take a look at the level 2, see if there's distinct levels where there's more buying or selling. And definitely that's what I'd look at in order to see where we go from here. Let's see the beak wetter animation. Yes, I did that beak wetter. See, yes. So I could finally hit it, because last time I hit the wrong thing and I didn't even wet that beak. It was a loss. So I'm so glad to finally hit it and deserve it. So shout out to this thing here. But what are we looking at? BA. BA. Let's see here. Boeing. Ew. See, with this Boeing here, we are reaching these lows, and so we had this range here from the highs. So this high around 154.83, and then we are around these lows. So we're at 153.10, and then the lowest 152.87. This definitely looks like a short for me, but again, be really aware of these bottoms here, because we can liquidity grab from there. So I would say definitely look out for these levels, but I would say that don't get into here, don't rush into things. I would say that if we really are going to break to the low side, that 152.88 would be the pivotal level to see if we break below that. But as of right now, it hasn't broken that level yet, and so I would just be afraid of it chopping and churning, and you kind of getting frustrated with that, because it's been doing that all day with not a really distinct level up or down. So I would just be aware of that, guys. and Clove is moving up. Are you still in Clove?
I got out.
Oh, you got out of Clove.
Yeah, it's still moving up, baby. People were asking me, like, Clove is moving.
Damn.
I'm like, I know.
I know. You know, you have to have a point, you know, where you gotta give it up, and we make sure that our risk levels are pretty tight. And so, you know, if you have a different strategy, then that might work for you. But you know, we just have tighter risk constraints, so that is okay. So let's, so yeah, what else are you looking at?
I'm looking at hum because Elon, obviously, in the chat is saying, hey, are you humming today on hum? And I gotta love that. So shout out to Elon. No, I'm not. And I haven't had a look at it until right now when you mentioned it. This is interesting. I don't even know why we were selling off. Let me have a look. Oh, multiple comments here. Did they report yesterday? HUMA moving down, blah, blah. I'm just looking to see if they reported yesterday because they got a lot of analyst upgrades today, maintained. Oh, a lot of analyst commentary today. So you have the like of, you know, who is this? Stevens cutting the price target to 250 from 400. That's not a good look. So you had a big boy down move. Humana is down 12.5%. It's a $30 million market cap, but it did find a bit of a base, obviously, at around 210. Wow, that is a great recovery. 210, the low there that we printed in the pre. But what was the price in the opening print? The IB low, I believe, is 213.31. It's beautiful. Up all the way until 246, 247. So this is a monster move here on Humana. Now, I'm looking at the 1 minute chart. It's respectful of the 10, but it's been so strong. It hasn't even touched the 10 on the 5 since 12:35. That's going on to an hour now. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, Elon. I think Adara's at the big desk. She's got some of the news on this one.
Humana, this one was actually on our watch list this morning, HUM. So if you look at the Trader TV watch list, you can find it there. What had happened with this was down about 25% at that time, obviously recovered about half of that decline. Basically providing an update. We have a lot of these insurance names right now providing some of their updates here. Humana mentioning there's been a decline in their stars performance and mentioned the ways that will impact their quality bonus payments going forward in 2026. So the performance declining here for 2025. This might impact some of these payments here in 2026. Worth noting this gained about $20 here right off the open. So nice reversal here for HUM. If you want to look at this or any other tickers in the afternoon show at 2 p.m., just go into that chat right now and vote. Exclamation point join, space, $, and your ticker of choice.
Thank you, Mike S., for your input. Mike and S and I were talking back and forth. He was like, hey, more live trading, please, when we were doing the lesson. And I respect that, man. It's a trading show. He has the right to say that, but I was just explaining to him how, you know, the midday segment's a little bit slower. We take the opportunity, obviously, to get our learn on, and that's what it's all about. That's why we're called Alert to Trade. But we do a lot of trading. I've been trading. Let me see. How many names have I traded today? Okay, let's find out. Usually I don't trade that many. Today I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've traded 8 names today. That's very unusual for me, guys. I don't usually trade that many names at all. So I'm kind of happy with today's trading after getting shellacked yesterday, and hopefully we'll forget about that. It's kind of good to have a short-term memory in a way, but not in another way as a trader. Like you forget the feelings of your losses, but you don't forget the mistakes that caused your losses.
That is fair.
You got to have a bit of a short-term memory in some respects, but not in others. Because if you're going to hold on to negative feelings, you're just going to bring that next day. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
It's going to, you know, roll over into your next trade, and you definitely don't want that. You want to make sure that when you're looking at your next trade, you've kind of got rid of all the emotions that you had from your other trade, and you are going in with a fresh mind with the new trade. Because, just got to make that money, and to make that money, you can't hold on to those negative emotions because, you know, being an emotional trader, it's not good, you know? So that is what we are doing here. So I am looking at AMD. So I am so sad. It wasn't really my look today, to be honest. I know I mentioned it before, but from that level that I was talking about, that pivotal level, 160.69, I am so sad that I didn't get in from there because it just banged down from there. And now, right now, we are at 159, 160.22. And I wish I got in at that time because I really did say, I'm like, that's a pivotal level that I'm looking at. That's the pivotal level. And so I should have listened to my own advice. But the people that got in, shout out to you guys. You guys are printing up a storm right then and there. Yes. And then going back to my Walmart. Walmart did a little bit of a bounce. And so I'm kind of glad that I got out when I did around that 80-18 level. Did a little bit of a bounce there. It could go down to that 80-10 level, but I just didn't want to take a risk on that. So shout out to Walmart with that. And then long AMD now. Let's take a look at AMD. Oh yeah, we just looked at AMD. See, this short-term memory of mine. So what else are we looking at? Tesla.
Keeps bouncing up VWAP at that 247. I don't know how you feel about that.
I don't know, like,
VWAP shelf.
Yeah, like it is making that VWAP floor, and it's holding there. But I don't know how to feel because that big move that we made in the morning off of that 260 from pre-market, that, you know, all that volatility, it just makes me a little bit wary that for the long, I don't know, we really need a lot of volume, a lot of pressure, and possibly a catalyst that I don't think that we have right now to push it forward. So I'm a little bit wary of this VWAP floor, as I like to call it. I don't know. I'd like to see what it does from here. I really want to see my pivotal level on this name is 250, and I feel like if we can get at that $250 level again, then I think that we can go to the upside. But as of right now, it's not really doing that. So that is not really the best look on that. And then we're going to go back to Nike because Nike is doing something over here. So Nike, I'm so glad that I got out at the level that I did as well because my take profit level was at this day's high around 84.62. But I was looking at the book. I didn't really like what I saw. And so we are approaching here this 83.33 level, and we are getting to VWAP here. So I definitely think VWAP is going to be a pivotal level as well, whether it turns into my VWAP floor trade where it just holds and it just consolidates. So like if we were looking at a visual perspective, it kind of does something like that and then goes up again. Or if it breaks VWAP, then I'm looking at something a little bit like this where it breaks down and then we kind of go from there. It doesn't necessarily have to look like that exactly, but that is what I'm looking for in terms of Nike. So that is what I'm looking at. Tesla is actually rejecting the 50 MA and it's looking more like a short on the 5 minute. See, yeah, I'm not necessarily saying that I do want to go long on Tesla. I more so just have points at, okay, if it crosses this level, I might look for, you know, a small scalp for a long, not necessarily to say that it will trend, but that is just a level that I would look at a long for just a small pop, just because with my scalping trades, I'm just looking for momentum. And I find with those even dollar breaks, you might see a 20-30% pop at those levels. So that's why I was saying that at, with Tesla, I'd like to see that 250 break, and then I might look for the long there. But I definitely agree with you. I definitely think it is a short as of right now. What about you, Sharif?
I'm watching WHLR today because it's working its way back above the volume weighted average price. So this one has a bit of a downward channel, Ram. And the thing about this one is, you know, I won't trade it if it's trading below VWAP, but it was able to reclaim it, I should say. What I'm concerned about is that we top out here at kind of a resistance level that we've been at essentially almost all afternoon. Since 12 o'clock onward, we've had a hard time breaking through 16. In fact, you could make the argument that there's a flat top over here with lower lows and not a pattern that we typically draw, like this kind of flat top-ish with declining lows. You know, that's an interesting look here on CLOV with the volume weighted average price kind of being in the middle, almost a little bit at that 14.5. And look at it. It just tanked off 16 again. Look at this, bro. It just dropped $2 like this off 16. So 16 is obviously in play, or not 16, sorry, 15 and 2/3, 15 and 3/4, in and around that area. So the selling in this area is quite aggressive. But look where it's holding up. Surprise, dang surprise, right at the volume weighted average price. Now, the question for me is this a long for me off this lower trend line over here, making lows, so like around 13, 12.5, somewhere in around there? I don't want to guess. It's not a trade that I would execute on, nor is it part of my rules. as a breakout trade, I have a very simple structure with these small cap gappers. Number one, definable pre-market high that I can base the trade off after the bell. That's number one. Number two, it has to be trading when I get in above that pre-market high. And number three, it's got to be trading above VWAP. Otherwise, I won't touch it as a breakout trade. I don't mind range trading it, but it will be for a smaller size and it won't be for as much of a move. So WHLR bamboozling me here because there's obviously something to be had at this 15 2/3, 15 3/4. But what's the entry here? Like, should I be getting in at VWAP or should I be getting in at 13, 12.5 to kind of take advantage of the low end of that range? So we'll see. WHLR, interesting look on the day, but breaking down now, still up 112%. We need to respect that. So Clover continuing to move up, Ram. 342, now it's back into 340. The only time since, what time was this? 11:50 was this touch over here by the 110 candle, 5-minute candle, that touched the 10 exponential and then worked its way up like another 10 cents. So fantastic look today for CLOV. I saw you, the OG Darwin, in the chat, jokingly saying, I'm only down 2% now on your CLOV. We hope you're up 20%, my man, by like the end of the week on your CLOV position. Let me know how it goes. Shout out to the OG Darwin. This one, though, I've had an abundant amount of disrespect for BACP. Not that I've said anything bad about it, but it's more like the lack of saying anything about it. Look at this pattern, bro. This is a respectable pattern. The only thing that kept me away from BACB was the volume. 4 and about 3/4 million shares on a $2 name. That doesn't cut it in my book, but what does anybody care about my book for? Look at what it's been doing. Higher highs and higher lows. If I had to get in, I'd be looking at getting in off the 20 exponential moving average on the 5. Reason is, look at those deep retracements. They all hold up at the 20, whether it's this candle here at 110 that held up beautifully. This 2-candle pattern over here at 11:55 and 12 that held up. How about this one down here at 10:50? Each and every print on BACB has respected the 20 exponential moving average on the 5. Currently, the 20 exponential is around 208. The price is at 218. 220, oh baby. This thing's printed new highs of the day, up 26%. Here are the details in case you want to trade it. $105 million market cap with the latest pump up here. As I mentioned, 4 3/4 million shares traded in a float of around 43 million shares, with the short float being BCAB. I'm sorry, I was saying that wrong. BCAB. 10.25% of BioAtla, yes, is shorted. So it's borrowed for short. So that's a decent amount there. Nothing that we'll keep an eye on that. So I'm gonna definitely be looking at trading this one, but I want it off a dip trade in and around maybe 210 or so right now. Okay, so it looks like we do have, though, Adara at the big desk with Money Talks.
Not too much new to report in terms of what the DXY is doing right now. Let's see, though, as I said, this level on the daily chart here, that 101.75, continues to be very fascinating. As of right now, looks like we're trying to make a slightly lower high below that double top here. Right now, we're at around 101.59. We also had comments from 4 Fed speakers today. 3 of them didn't hear much about, though I did see some of the comments from Fed's Michelle Bowman. She mostly spoke about community banking. However, Fed's Barkin seems to be, from what I can see, the only one of today's 4 Fed speakers who directly mentioned inflation, saying that the Fed chose to cut the rates there by a 0.5 percentage point during that somewhat shocking decision through the September meeting, saying that the rates were, quote, out of sync with the inflationary decline. So basically saying the Fed was trying to catch up with deflation is kind of how this can be interpreted there. So very interesting look. In terms of other comments here going on in the world geopolitically that could be impacting that U.S. dollar, we did have some comments from President Biden around 12:30 p.m. speaking about the geopolitical situation, saying that he's set to talk to Israel's Netanyahu, so that could be of note here. Also speaking on the seaport strike, saying that, quote, the last thing we need is a man-made disaster on the ports, and it's, quote, time for them to sit at the table and get it done. So calling for a resolution to that port strike with the ILA and the USMX. Let's see what goes on there. We know the port strike could impact quite a few companies, especially retailers. Also of note here, not related to the US dollar, but something just to keep an eye on. Have not mentioned it yet because it hasn't really directly impacted the stocks beyond a brief volume spike for Microsoft. But OpenAI actually closing its most recent funding round, raising $6.6 billion. That brings their valuation to $157 billion for OpenAI. People participating included NVIDIA. Also worth noting here, now seeing Business Insider reporting that Cathie Wood's ARK Invest is looking to invest at least $250 million in OpenAI. So lots of people involved here in OpenAI. Keep an eye on MSFT with that in mind, guys.
Man, all I know is that this floor is jokes. We have a lot of good times on this floor. There's a lot of laughs. There's plenty of laughs to have right now, especially when two individuals dress up like each other and don't mean to. What are they doing here? Move, move. Oh, I'm sorry, Ram. I'm sorry. Oh, hello.
Do something.
Yeah, look at this. They look identical. They didn't plan this. The belt, the shirt, the pants, the shoes. What are you two doing? I love it. Zoom them in, Ram. They're getting bigger. Shout out to Yanni. Shout out to Obi. Two OGs. I love this. There you go. Look at Ob. Look at Yanni, man. You guys are too suave for us, man. You guys are making us look bad. Shout out to the dynamic duo. I absolutely love it. The two OGs doing the absolute most in a good way. Apple's coming down, guys, and I just got in at 72s. Big sell right now on Apple. This thing breaks 52, and I'm Gonzino Sateo. What are you looking at?
For sure. So I'm looking at this Dell right now. Trade. And I thought that this level at 114.26 would be a good pivotal level. I don't necessarily, despite it being below VWAP and my VWAP ceiling trade, I feel like this is more of a pullback. And so I want to see what it does at this 114.26 level. I definitely think that it's just a small retracement before we move back up. I wouldn't necessarily get in there. I would like to wait and see if it breaks above VWAP again around 115.50. I just feel like I'd want to see it do that base first, and then 115.50 getting back up there gives me more confirmation for the long. So I definitely wouldn't rush into the short. Looks good for my VWAP ceiling, but not necessarily the setup that I want to see. So that is what I'm looking at. Another thing that someone shouted out in the chat is Intel, and I feel like it kind of has a similar look. It did break through this pivotal level and of 2274. I was looking at that because this was around like the pre-market high, and so I felt like this would have been the best level to get in at. At these levels, around 2266, I don't really have a good read of whether or not it may bounce or not, but I definitely think that this sweet spot at 2274 would have been the best position to get in for the short. Satya swing hard on Dell. Yeah, Dell, that would be more of like a long-term play. In terms of like a day trade, I don't really have the best look on it. So another thing are we looking at is Boeing. Someone mentioned that as well. And so it's still, my decision still stands that it's still chopping and churning. I do see this kind of rounded bottom, which I do like near these lows. But in terms of volatility breaking higher, I don't know what I'm really seeing here, to be honest. I'm more of a volatility girl, and so when it's chopping and it's churning, it's more of a guess for me, and I don't like to guess with you guys. I like to be sure about what I'm talking about, and so with Boeing, I don't really have the best read on this. So what about you? Do you have any outlook on Boeing?
Yeah, I think they should probably stop using dish soap as a lubricant. Yeah, it's probably the good idea there. No, seriously, guys, this is a company that can't seem to get out of its way. I need to see proof that they're going to get out of their way before I ever bet on them. You can look at technicals and you can try to make all the educated guesses that you want, but quite frankly, it's a company that's proven to you over and over and over again that they can't get their ish together. And so it's sad. Yes, Ram absolutely means you can short it, right? Again, Ram, I should tell you, and I should tell all the viewers that theoretically, when you short a stock, you have unlimited potential upside. Obviously, you're going to stop out. I'd hope you'd stop out, but like theoretically, the price can go to an unlimited amount, or it can go a lot higher than it can go down, really depending on where you are in your entry. So shorting is inherently risky when it comes to that. Obviously, we do it every day, but we're doing it on an intraday basis. So get it, Ram. If you want to short Boeing, have at it. I know that you did very well on your Rivian trade there. So shut up to Ram. All right, guys. I'm thinking about getting back into Apple here. I got stopped out. I was telling a deal in the or I think it's Adil in the chat, because I think that's how probably he says it. In any event, there was a 226.70 range, that we had initially with 227 as the top. I got in, specialist breakdown got me out, so I'm putting it at the $0.25 to take advantage of the closing print. It doesn't seem like it wants to work its way down there, but if it's going to hold the $0.50, then I will be interested in getting back in to move back up on AAPL, especially since we're bouncing off the volume weighted average price and the closing print yesterday on the future. So if we get a nice little bid on the future, maybe Apple works its way back up. But I did get burned on this, and I don't want to give back too much money today because I did poorly yesterday. But this is an interesting trade here. Now, it didn't come into my entry at 25s, but it did hold 50s. So I'd like to see what we're doing here. And it looks like it held up, ironically enough, at the 50 exponential. I'm going to go long and give this one a try. I will basically look to get out if it breaks 50 pennies again. But Apple, interesting look here midday as the future kind of took a bit of a move down. Meta, I should tell you, is on the way up, looking to work its way back into 573 at VWAP. So that's an interesting look there. We're going to put our beak wetters set up on Apple and set up some of the stops as well. I'm looking for ideally a mid-area retracement here on AAPL before I get my first print. I'm looking maybe in the mid-80s, but ideally we get that 227 break. That may or may not come. All right, nice. We're 10 pennies in the money or so. Let's see if we can work our way up a little bit more. I'm looking for around 82s. I think we just printed 80s. So let's see if we can weasel up a little bit more here on AAPL. The future's pumping. We're moving up back on the future, so good look there. Wow, so frustrating when I can't get that. There we go. We'll take that one off, and then we'll go like this. Nice. Okay, good. Now let's let this one run a little bit more over here. I want to see if we can get up into 227 on Apple. We're long 65, just went my beak at 80. Let's see if we can work our way up a little bit higher. We're up only 0.24, so it's nothing to write home about. But the future did get a nice little bounce there off the volume weighted average price, off the closing print from yesterday. That helped propel Apple back up into that range originally. So I have a new base off which to work. Right, because this is a specialist breakdown in my humble opinion. Right? This was an established range. A lot of people playing the range, so they push you out. Simple as that. And I was one of those people that got pushed out. So we'll look to do a little bit better. Satya, what are you looking at?
I've just been bouncing around between tickers. I was looking a little bit at Macy's just because it was on my watch list in the morning. Not really doing much in terms of volume, but I am looking at this level here at 1545. It broke through VWAP a little bit at this 1554 level. And so I'm looking at this 1546, 1547 as a pivotal level. What I like about this in terms of the short is that we have like a point to risk off of. So around this 1563 level, just because it's below VWAP. But again, it's just a little bit of a range, and so I need to see more volume and confirmation for that. So it's just something that I was looking at. Intel right now, it's making a little bit of a base here. And so, yeah, I didn't think it was necessarily a short. I definitely think it's more of a pullback. And then I'd like to see it go up a little bit above VWAP. 2290 would probably be where I would post for more confirmation for the long, but I definitely think it could bounce here around this 2262 and stay above this level. Maybe we might retrace a little bit, but I definitely think it may not go any further than the day's low around this 2250. So that is my look on Intel. And then Boeing, going back to Boeing, okay, like it's going,
Hey.
it has like this rounded bottom here, but I would like to see more. The thing is, I don't know where to put my profit target, because like we do have like this top here around this 154.27. So I mean that could be a place where you could take profits, but it's just chopping, it's just churning, and so just for me personally, it's not enough momentum for me. So that is what I'm looking at. And then looking at Tesla, not really doing much, to be honest. Do something, like just poking at a stick, not doing much there. And so those are my looks as of right now. AVGO's finding support. Let's look at AVGO. Yeah, so I'm seeing what you're seeing in terms of this VWAP shelf here at this 171.10 level. I really like that. I would say if I'm risking, it shouldn't really go below this 169.84. I feel like if it does cross there, then we are wrong, at least in the short term. But I feel like as long as it could hold this 171, then I definitely think that this looks good. Right here, we have this resistance, though, at 172.83, so just be watchful of that. But I definitely think if we can break those highs, we could definitely see maybe a pit stop at 173.50. Maybe take a profit target at 173.46, just so that you can get that fill if you are looking for that long. Uber tanking.
Really?
Uber.
Not Uber.
Ooh, Uber. Oh my gosh. Yes, we are approaching. Actually, it's created like a new low. And so we broke through this day's low, $73. Right here, I'd see, why do I have this line here? I'm not exactly sure where that line is from, but definitely looking bad on Uber. Yes, definitely a short for there. Let's look on the higher time frame and see where we may stop on Uber. I'm seeing maybe a pit stop from previous days. This was in the pre-market, 72.22. Definitely feel like could be a level that we can look at. And then another pit stop we can see is around the 71.71 level. So definitely looking bad on Uber. Why Uber? That is crazy.
Darden got a bargain. What the hell is all these stores? I haven't gotten anything on Uber since 11:17, so it was like over 2 hours ago. So I don't think there's a catalyst, unless Adara has something about Uber. Yeah, she does. She's not seeing anything right now on Uber either. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a very directional move.
Yeah.
That's too directional for there not to be something afoot there.
Right? You would think that there would be catalysts in order for like that crazy move to happen. So I wish that I had a read on that. But there was no reason for me to really be looking at Uber. So, but shout out to you guys. You guys are really on the lookout, on the watch out for those tickers. How about you, Sharif?
That's a good point, Ramram. Thank you for that. Ramram said robo-taxi. Now, we know that obviously, no, but I think you're absolutely right. And I wouldn't just say it out loud if I didn't agree with you, Ramram. We know it's a threat to their business. If they can, I think we're, years out from this. Who knows? We'll find out on 10/10. Make sure to join us on the show. October 10th, Robotaxi event Tesla. We'll know a lot more then. But, just making an educated guess here that unless they adopt and pay Tesla for their Robotaxi, obviously it's an existential threat. Because if you have a Model 3, a Model Y that's out there driving people around while you're at work, you're printing and Uber isn't. It's really that simple. So we'll have to find out exactly how that all works out, how far away we are actually from being able to do that. Right now, I'm going to get out of Apple because we're 3 pennies out of the money here, and I don't like what it's doing. So there was certainly a seller at 85. I was watching this on the book very intently, and every time we ascended into 85, there was a bit of a bigger seller. So I don't want to be part of this lower high, lower low kind of push. We were talking about Apple, how it looked like it was accumulating for that big 227 push, but now what I'm seeing is like successively lower highs and lower lows. This candle obviously hasn't made that low yet, but that could be incoming. I'd rather take it off the closing print. That gives me a much better entry. That is 226.25. That's yesterday's closing print. Excuse me, not today's. So we're still negative on Apple, but I was able to make some back there with that 20 penny pump. So we'll look to do better as there's 15 minutes left on the show. And that reminds me to tell you, if you haven't voted yet for the afternoon rundown, get into that chat and vote right now. ! The word join, then hit that space bar, then shift 4 to get the $sign.
Yes.
And then you type in the ticker of your choice, whatever that may be. The big kahunas today, Obi with the Neil, they'll look at the tickers as decided by you, but only the top 5 tickers make it on. So persuade your friends in the chat to vote your way. Do you guys want to see what Apple is doing? How about the rocket ship? And we know as NVIDIA. How about some of these small cap gappers, Ramram? CLOV. This is a buy program if I've ever seen one. What the hell is this? You want Neil and Obi to give you their thoughts about it? Get into the chat. How about TOP? TOP had a nice move up before breaking down below VWAP there. Was a good move, up to 53%. How about WHLR, triple digit winner, up 110%, trying to reclaim that volume weighted average price. Get into the chat, vote for your favorite tickers every day, whether it's Boeing, Uber, we don't discriminate. We'll cover it for you on the Big Desk show. So get into that chat. You've got 4 minutes left. And look, Adil, he wants to talk about Apple. We got Conrad Clark. He's talking about Nike. Get into the chat, Conrad. Vote for it. Elon talking about Boeing, retesting. Absolutely. You got M-Sense there voting for Nike. You got my man KC. He wants to know about the SQQs. How about Rocco Trader? ENVX. I don't even know what that is, but we will cover it for you if it makes the top 5. I promise you that. TX Trader talking about shorting Clove at 345 with a stop loss at 350. Get into the chat, TX Trader, and vote for Clove and see what Neil and Obi have to say about it. Satya.
Awesome. So going back to this Uber, even though there wasn't really a reason for me to look at it, but just because I didn't know about what the catalyst was, but one level that I'm really looking at is this previous day low, this 73.80. This is definitely one of my plays as well. Not only do I like to look at the pre-market high, the pre-market low, the day's high, the day's low, I also like to look at the previous day's low and the previous day's high as pivotal levels as well. And so there's two kind of confirmations that I can see for the short in this trade. Obviously that this previous day's low at 73.82, and then also when it came up to VWAP here, it broke through this VWAP around that same level as well. So those are two confirmations that you can see to really give you a bias as to where things may go. So definitely just wanted to point that out as well. So that is what I'm looking at in terms of Uber. What are you looking at?
I'm looking at cars. I want to ask your opinion about this color.
Okay.
I think this color is hideous.
Really? That's
Hideous.
my favorite color though.
Okay, I
Baby
like blue.
blue.
You know, I love baby blue.
Yeah.
I know, but not on a car. I love
Why
that color.
though?
You saw, I wore actually a baby blue polo yesterday, so obviously like the color, but I wouldn't put that on the car.
But why though? Tell me why. Give me the breakdown of that.
I don't know. You
It
know,
stands out though.
I appreciate that, and I agree with you that it definitely stands out, but that's not how I want to stand out.
Okay.
I don't want to be a driving cloud.
Okay.
You know, in the
okay.
sky.
Fair.
You know, but like this car is wrapped, by the way. It's black under. I don't think they drop it like that from the manufacturer.
So what would you prefer then, if you don't like this baby blue?
I call it Pepsi blue. I don't know if you know what I mean.
Like a
by
darker
Pepsi
blue?
Yeah, like
Really?
Azure. Is that sometimes called Azure blue?
I've never heard
Yeah,
of
let's
that.
AZUR Azure blue. Lisa Sue blue. Yes, this kind of blue.
I don't know.
I like the let's see what comes up. Pepsi blue. I don't know. Images. Pepsi
I don't know,
blue.
Sharif.
No,
I don't
you're not
know.
about that life.
No, the baby blue, it's I don't know. I like it personally. It's
Okay,
cute, but like maybe
okay.
that's not what you're going for.
No, not with the car. No, the car. Randy also echoed my sentiment. He's like, "What's with the car, bro? Why is the color like that?" No,
Really?
I mean, it's everybody's preference, right? What happened, Ram?
We're counting down.
Oh no, we're on more Trader TV. We've taken over. Just want to let you guys know that what you guys just saw there. It's okay, Ram. I'll take the opportunity to tell them what that is. What you guys just saw there is more Trader TV Live. That is a simultaneous stream that we have with Trader TV Live. It's on a different channel. You got to go on to more Trader TV to be able to sub that. But you'll be able to see Neil's positions. When Sean's here, you'll be able to see his. Otherwise, it's going to be Obi's. But you'll also be able to see all the news headlines, the tickers. Adair takes care of all of that. And we always will keep you up to date with that information channel only, Ram. What is going on, Ram? Okay, we're going to she's on her own today. She's on her own. Get it, Adair. Go ahead.
We do have some comments here coming from the U.S. State Department with regards to the situation in the Middle East. Just mentioning this because we are getting a little bit of a push up here in some of these futures. I have the QQQs up right now. As you can see, a little bit of a sharp 5-minute candle here on the 5-minute candle, my bad, here to the upside. We do have the State Department making some comments with regards to saying they do not want, the U.S. does not want Israel to be targeting any civilians or infrastructure. Also mentioning that the UN chief should not necessarily be barred from entering Israel. So some comments with regards to that situation potentially could be what's pushing this market a little bit to the upside. Let's see if this base we found around 481 in the Qs sticks, guys.
Well, Apple stopped me but it just broke the high of the day, guys. We just got above 227 on the dead one, Apple. 227.08 is technically the high of the day, but as you can see right now, we are doing the dance. We're trying to hold above 227. I wouldn't go so far as to say we've claimed it because we're only about 4 or 5 pennies above it, but keep your eye out on Apple. The Fuge also took out that local top that we've been trading at. This is the 5-minute look on the Fuge. We've been below today at 20,020. for a hot minute, since essentially 1 o'clock. And then we broke that. So an hour worth of consolidation, though, holding VWAP, holding the closing print from yesterday. And here we go on the future, working back up, higher highs, higher lows. That's pushing up a lot of these Mag 7 names above where they were before. You got the likes of Tesla holding up at VWAP, even Amazon reclaiming VWAP. So is Meta. Meta above VWAP now. Microsoft working its way back to VWAP. And even the poorly traded one today, Google above VWAP as well, and NVIDIA had been already, but moving away from VWAP. So a nice little mid-afternoon pump here on the market as we look to possibly go into highs. What's your look on that?
Yeah, I was looking at the QQQs, and we did make that shelf. It broke VWAP a little bit around this 481, but I just like the fact that it was hugging around this VWAP level, and the fact that we're breaking above this pre-market high again at this 482 level gives me a lot more confirmation for this long. And I would say that we have a distinct level that we could risk off of. I would say this distinct level here is around this 480.90. And we just want to make sure that we're above that VWAP, and I definitely like that look. So a pivotal level was this 482. I wouldn't necessarily risk off of that, but I definitely think that as long as that we can stay above that, we are looking really good for the long. And then we have our local take profit here, looking around this 483.87. It really depends on you. Like, do you really want to wait to take your profits at that high again, or maybe a little bit before? I definitely think for sure we could reach around this 483 for sure. But I don't know, in terms of like taking that profit again at those highs, could be a little bit dicey, but we'll see what we could do there. NVAX flying. So let's look at that. NVAX. Ooh, NVAX. Yes, this is looking really good as well. What I like about this NVAX trade, I haven't looked at it all day, but what I like about this is that we have this touch here around this level, this 1390 level. Touched it once, touched it twice, touched it 3 times, can't break below that level, and then we're flying to the high side. And so we want to see this break at this 1420 level, and I definitely think it could reach at that level, but also just, take a little bit of profits at that level, because you never know if it could reverse at those highs. So just take a little bit off, not necessarily your whole position, but trim a little bit off, and lock in those profits.
Bang.
So that is looking good on NVAX. Apple fighting back, not wanting to drop. Yeah, that Apple trade. See, I thought it was like a little bit overextended, but the thing is, with the QQQs, it's holding above that VWAP, and I don't think it necessarily wants to bang down. So looking good on Apple as of right now. I know Sharif was fighting with it a little bit, but it is what it is. Satya Sharif, do you think it's a good spot to go long, possibly till close on the ES? What do you think about that? I don't.
Well, I have a bias right now in that the future is positive. It's above VWAP. It's definitely off highs. We've got a nice little gap between where we're trading. I know I'm looking at the NQ, but that's what I chart, guys. I don't typically chart the ES unless it's in the morning. At 20,040 right there, we're looking possibly to work into highs. What I want to see is if, number one, we get up to actually touch 20,100. And then if we do we reject? So I'm definitely a little bit biased right now to the long side, simply because of how we held VWAP. We definitely used VWAP as support. I won't be convinced otherwise. It was VWAP intersecting with that closing print on the NQ September contract or December contract. I'm still living in the past. 19,974 was the closing print, essentially intersecting with VWAP. And what we did is from basically 1 o'clock onwards is we used it as a very, very supportive support level. Sorry, too much support there. No, we used it as a support level. What I want to see, though, is can we get back into highs? That's really the question. Hard to know, but my bias is long because we're above VWAP. We're positive. We'll have to wait and see. And quite frankly, you got NVIDIA above VWAP, Tesla above VWAP, Apple above VWAP, Meta above VWAP, even Google now above VWAP. So, if that trend continues, maybe we get a little late day pump. Hard to know. So I'm not gonna say guaranteed or anything. Random Oddities was asking me about SGMTs. Like, dude, what's going on here at 340s? I've never seen anything like this, because every single print from 1050 onwards at 340 has sold off. But when you look at the book, there's just not enough size there. So this is kind of the same thing we were talking about iceberg orders. This looks like a buyout to me. A buyout, you know, I'm not going to go into a dissertation about what a buyout is right now, but oftentimes you get these very, you know, very clunky 1 penny moves where it like moves up and down 1 or 2 pennies at most. This is kind of what it looks like. It looks like somebody's offloading this position at 340s. Look, the book can bamboozle you, but the time and sales cannot be bamboozled. Every single print, whether it's an iceberg or not, will be reflected here. Look at the buying coming in at 340. Look, aggressive buying. Now look, there's nothing there on the book. We've got two lots. Now more lots come in there. So you've got to assume that the person on the other side of 340 has their order as an iceberg, and it's big because we've been holding this level essentially, what time did I say when we got up there? 1050. Every single move into 340 since 10:50 a.m. has sold off. That's what essentially that is. I hope that helps. And let me know how it goes for you. Jay Lee, H. Wainwright has a price target of $32 on SGMT. Amazing, eh? Yeah, given that we're trading at 340, what is that, 1,000% premium, Jay? You're better at math than I am, but that's crazy. So, I mean, let's look at the daily chart on this thing. What the hell is this? Oh, goodness. It's one of those COVID stocks. No, it's not. What am I saying? August 23. What is SGMT? Sagimet Biosciences. Oh, okay. Biopharmaceutical company. Yeah, this is like make or break. Interesting. Okay. Well, these ones, you know, I just try to stay away from them because there's so much technical knowledge you need for these biotechs that, you know, I'm just not that smart. Yeah, so I'll just stay away from them. But yeah, interesting look. I think that's all I have to say about that. Random oddities, that this is obviously a seller. And your guess is as good as mine when they get taken out. But what I can tell you is we're putting in higher lows. So the buyers are overwhelming sellers incrementally. Because at 11:20, that was, you know, the low of the afternoon or whatever, late day. And then we put in a higher low over here at 1, and then another higher low over here at 145. So let me know how it goes, but that's my look on that today.
Awesome. So I'm looking at this Intel as of right now. So we were a little bit wary, you know, of this 2261. A lot of people were looking for the short, but I thought that there could be a bounce. I thought it was more of a retracement rather than a full-on short. And so we are bouncing here at this 2260. We are approaching this pivotal level that I was looking at 2274. I'm definitely liking the look of that, but I wouldn't want more confirmation that I'd want for the long is at this 2289 level. And just on a side note, whatever happened to the likes? Did we have enough likes for the rap battle?
Oh, we're gonna find out right now.
Okay, awesome.
We're gonna find out right now, but I'm willing to bet you that they couldn't do it even if we pushed them to do it.
Oh.
I bet you the chat couldn't do it. They could not get to 2,000 likes. No, we're only 638. I mean, we're not even gonna.
Not enough.
That's not nothing. That's nothing.
We need 2,000. If you guys want to see us breakdancing, if you want to see Neil and Adara rapping, you need to get 2,000. Share this video today. We are not doing it unless we get that $2,000. That 2,000 likes, guys.
It just bumped up by a whole 8. You're going to have to do a lot better than that. I'm sorry. So those are rookie numbers, says the OP is the one Kenob. Shout out to him, man. He's about to come on in a minute. Guys, any final thoughts today? We're winding down the show over here. I think we've got like 10 seconds left before we throw it to the big kahunas.
You guys could follow me on Instagram, Satea Trades. I just made a new account. So, yeah, you guys can follow me there.
Get it? All right, guys. We shall see you tomorrow. It's going to be Joe. He's going to have an options lesson, so get your learning caps on. But for now, we're going to send it off to the big kahunas. We'll see you guys same bat time, same bat channel. Peace. Yo.
Hello, everybody. It's the afternoon show. We'll get that to Obi because obviously that is not Sean. Sean's still at the, well, you know, his daughter had a cross-country tournament.